Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find a leadership of our own to make ourselves free men. Our great scholars, having passed through the colleges and universities, have thrown away the blessed record. Babylon did it. Assyria did it. France under Napoleon did it. Germany under Prince von Bismarck did it. England under America under George Washington did it. Africa with 400 million black people can do it. If you cannot do it, if you are not prepared to do it, then you will die. You race of cowards, you race of imbeciles, you race of good for nothing. If you cannot do what other men have done, what other nations have done, what other races have done, then you have better die.
Ujambo wote. How are you doing? Good morning, good morning, good morning to you. You're inside of the black space. You're inside of the Pan-African space. You've joined us inside of an African-centered space. Good morning to you. My name is Kabu Ma'at Keru. My broadcast assistant this morning is Joy Morgan. We're going through until 10 a.m. That is when the big A comes in with a Sunday sunshine. It's Sunday, October 12. What are we going to tell our children about their future? What are we going to tell our children about their future? We've come this long, and we've come thus far. And the elephants that brought us have since died. In front of us stands a Roman army, and they want both our swords and our blood. It is such a critical stage of a struggle. For if we lose, we are lost forever. We will find a way, or we will make one. Good morning to you. Making a way inside of the Africa Forum. The words of Hannibal. The elephants that brought us have long since died. And we're faced with imperialism, neocolonialism, capitalism, and all the isms. New enslavement on one side. And those that would re-enslave us want both our means of fighting that re-enslavement and our lives. We are now, and they want our lands. We are now at such a critical stage of the struggle against injustice. If we lose at this stage, we lose forever. What are we going to tell our children about their future? We must find a way, or we will make one. Good morning to you. You're inside of the Africa Forum. Interesting program lined up for you this morning. The question we're asking this morning: what are you going to tell your children about their future? It's a good way to wake up on October 12, 2014, recalling and remembering that we asked ourselves that question one more time. and that we decided collectively that we will find a way or we will make one. What are we going to tell our children about the future? The vision of the program is to reunite the African family for development. Our mission, crafting an African-centered agenda for change and development, bearing witness and demanding change, being part of that change that we want to see. Over time, blazing new paths towards Africa's rendezvous with destiny. What are we going to tell our children about their future? Have we yet told them that they are African? Do they understand now what it means to be African? And do they identify as Africans? We are not Africans because we were born in Africa. We are Africans because Africa was born in us. Let us teach our children that. And even though a lot of our children and we ourselves have been born into a state of decay, our inheritance doesn't have to be garbage. We must find a way or we will make one. So we've got an interesting program lined up for you, as we just pointed out, and a quick look at what we've got coming up. Overall this morning, the question we're asking is, what are we going to tell our children about their future? And we're asking that against the background of this vicious, violent, psychic violence is their everyday reality. We know that. Situation in which they find themselves, but also we're asking that against the background at the fact that we are bearing witness to the greatest land heist, the greatest theft of land from any nation since colonialism and since the Aborigines lost their land in Australia, since the American Indians lost their lands to the Europeans in America. We are now witnessing, since Belgium and the Congo, since the sharing up and the cutting up of a land in Africa among Europeans, once again we are bearing witness to the largest non-reversible theft, hijacking of our land that we have ever seen. We are witnessing that, and it is against that background that we are asking, what are we going to tell our children about their future? We are bearing witness, and a lot of Jamaicans and a lot of Africans are standing by and participating in the sale and the giving away of our land to other nations without asking the critical questions. We are bearing witness to a non-reversible corporatization of Jamaican land, of African land, that threatens and is at this moment doing just that on the continent of Africa, displacing some of the poorest and most vulnerable citizens of Africa and the African diaspora. We are bearing witness to that. But are we demanding change? So it is against that background that this morning we are asking, what are we going to tell our children about their land? What are we going to tell our children about their future? Are we going to be the ones to watch them ask themselves, what happened to the land? What happened to the people of Sumer? Because they were great, as Chancellor Williams reminds us. What happened to the Tainos? What happened to the American Indians? What happened to the Aborigines of Australia? What are we going to tell our children about their future? We are watching, we're standing by, and we're bearing witness. To the largest, the greatest, and the biggest land heist yet, the theft of our land. But it reminds us, though, of how it was possible for Europe to enslave Africans. It reminds us of how Africans themselves were complicit. And when I say Africans, I'm talking about those who had the power to do so, who sold. And we have to face that one fact in our history. Don't tell me I shouldn't say it, because we are bearing witness to that all over again. We see them dressed in their African skin, and we are watching them. We're bearing witness to the deals they sign when they go into China, return and refuse to tell us what they have signed. We are now bearing witness to what they signed. They signed away our land, and they have been signing away our land not just in Jamaica. They have been signing away our land in the African diaspora and on the continent of Africa. For crying out loud, how do we deal with such a situation? What are we going to tell our children about their future? Because they're giving away our land on the continent of Africa. As a matter of fact, the World Bank has made some warnings about that. We'll tell you about that later on. And they're giving away our land here in Jamaica. China in Jamaica is a question that we must answer. China in Jamaica is a question that we must leverage. We must do that or else die. They want our land, but we must find a way or make one to ensure that we do not have to give away our children's birthright. So what are we going to tell our children about their future? This morning we're talking about the lands now where Goat Island is gone. But has it? Is a question. Nothing is gone until it's gone. And we have to take up now the words of Amilcar Cabral, because now is the time. Now is the time. Now more than ever. Now is the time. So the lands at Roaring River have been identified. China has sent a proposal while every one of us have been distracted by chikungunya and Ebola and other diseases. China sent a proposal to the government of Jamaica requesting the lands at Roaring River. Don't know how many acres they want. Roaring River consists of 800 acres. Roaring River is right here in St. Anne, next door to Dunn's River Falls. Those lands incorporate the Laughing Water area, Laughing Waters, the hydro plant at Laughing Waters, and they're talking about north and south of a highway. So we have to pay some attention to that. We have started a petition at change.org, which is now out. Please sign the petition. I implore you, don't just share it or like it. Sign it, please. It is economic terrorism that the government of Jamaica is bringing off or practicing on the people of Jamaica. What is economic terrorism? It is a placing of human beings in a situation in which they are without hope, they are without space, they are without adequate defense, they are without the means of escape and survival, and they are without the means of overcoming threatening or actual danger. It is menace. It is an oppressive force. This is the very definition of terror. It doesn't only have a physical, but it also has a mental element. So it is economic terrorism. So what are we going to tell our children about the lands at Roaring River? This morning we're going to be talking about that. And we are asking questions about the lands at Roaring River. We started that conversation last week. We're continuing that conversation this week. And joining me in the studio to help us to understand, ambivalence and with all the questions that we have, Member of Parliament for the area in which the Roaring River lands fall, Shahini Robinson, will be joining me this morning. Also on the phone lines, Member of Parliament for Central Clarendon, Mike Henry. And because Mike Henry was one of those who initially part of a negotiating team with China, we want to talk a little bit about leveraging China-Jamaica relationship. This might not be the morning when we're going to go in depth. What we're trying to do is gather as much information as possible, because sometimes our ambivalence lead us to ask questions. It should lead us there all the time, but sometimes it does. We're sure about the fact, though, that we must protect our lands, even as we ask, what are we going to tell our children about their future? We're also going to be talking this morning about a developing situation in Ochi in St. Anne. The fishermen and the owners of shops on the Fisherman's Beach. The Fisherman's Beach, as old as time, has been there for a very, very long time, and fishermen have been using that beach for decades. Going out, catching fish, coming back, and the shops on the Fisherman Beach over time have grown from 2 to 3 to 4 to probably about 25 now. The UDC, I understand, has met with the shop owners and fishermen and women to tell them that they're going to be moved from that beach in short order for at least 9 months. For 9 months is what we're hearing. Now we want to get to the bottom of this. And in so doing, we're going to be joined in the studio by Fisherfolk and shop owners Donovan, Chris Lowe, Dave, Olive, Blue, Orville, Marvin, Juliet, and Anroy. Also joining us, representing the Ministers Fraternal, those who stand in the shoes of Paul Bogle on the ground here in this part of Jamaica, which is the northern part of Jamaica, northeastern part of Jamaica. Reverend Carlton Mullings, representing the Ministers Fraternal. Reverend Mullings, of course, minister for the Ochi Church of Christ, representing the Ministers Fraternal, joining us in the studio. Also, Dr. Rohan Williams, councillor for the Ochi Division, and the Member of Parliament, Shahini Robinson, will be here to talk about the Roaring River lands. We'll ask her what she knows about that situation that's developing on Fisherman's Beach with those who have been there for a very long time, who have now been told that they've got to move. Also this morning, the chikungunya virus, chickV, still wreaking havoc here in Jamaica. I don't know if there's a household that hasn't been touched. I think every family has been touched by this awful disease, painful. And this seems to be the norm, not just in Jamaica, but across the Caribbean. Many Caribbean countries right now suffering a similar fate. And Dr. Babatunde Olowokure, Director of the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPA, Surveillance, Disease Prevention and Control, will be joining me on the phone lines this morning to talk about chikungunya in the Caribbean. We get an insight into what's happening across the Caribbean. Sometimes when we're hit by such a terrible disease, we become a bit insular and don't necessarily ask questions about what's happening around us. But a disease that is spread by mosquitoes and affecting Jamaica and the way it's affecting Jamaica, it means that there must be also a similar problem across the Caribbean. And so Dr. Babatunde will tell us a little bit about that this morning, the emergence of chikungunya in the Caribbean. You're inside of the Africa Forum. We're going through until 10 o'clock. Of the Africa Forum, it is running African. So we've been asking, what are you going to tell our children? What are we going to tell our children about their future? And I wanted to get your thoughts in on that. So we're going to be going to the phone lines just for a few minutes to find out how you view this. What do we need to tell our children about their future? What are you telling your children about their future? So the numbers to call: 974-5079, 5051, 5043, and 1-888-991-4152. Want to welcome you on the internet at irefm.net. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter at Kabu Ma'at Keru, K-A-B-U, Ma'at, M-A-A-T, Keru, K-H-E-R-U. We're on Facebook at Kabu Ma'at Keru Williams. You can also send me an email, andrea.williams@irefm.net. In this segment of the program, though, we are taking your telephone calls. We open the phone lines again at 9 o'clock this morning. Hotep?
Perfect love, greetings to you, Nine.
Greetings, my brother. Hotep to you.
Same to you.
Give thanks.
What I would love for us to tell our children, in the scheme of things, even one of the warfare, economical warfare, I know a poverty-stricken situation as a race of people. What we love to tell our children that in the year 2014, according to the Gregorian calendar, we created a black bank. You know?
Yes.
We put in flesh to Marcus Messiah Garvey's efforts, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And let us start it now. I know banks start in other islands, they call them penny bank, and now those banks are well established.
Yes.
So we can start now. We can start now not with a penny, but we can start with $1,000. Let's start with the Pan-African world, people who are conscious. We're not spreading it out to Tom, Dick, and Harry. People who are conscious that this is needed. I have my $1,000 right now.
Will you be able to tell your children that you did not just call the radio station and say that, but that,
no,
hold on. But that you led the effort. That you led the effort to do that, to realize
yes, that's what I'm saying. I have my $1,000. I have my $1,000 right now.
But it's going to take more than that, though. My brother, it's going to take more than saying that we have our $1,000 and our $1 and our $2. It is going to take action. Hang on. It is going to take action.
My beloved sister.
Yes.
We have everybody in place, the people who know about economics.
No, forget the
people who can set the body.
Yeah.
We have we have every goodie there.
Yes,
we
but
have
listen to my brother. I am saying this because I have been in this space for a while. And that suggestion of a black bank, that suggestion of the economics have been made over and over. And hang on by many Pan-Africanist, Rastafarians, African-centered people. But we have not yet done it. Why haven't we?
I am saying this morning, let us go beyond the subject. I am saying right now in this space that I am willing And I know that others out there are willing to go beyond the suggestion and let's do it. Brilliant. I have my $1,000. If I was near you, I would have just said, put mine on the table, bram. And
no, but which table would you put it on? That's what I'm saying, that this effort is going to take leadership. No, hang on, my brother. You have to listen to what I'm saying, you know. I'm saying listening. That the effort is this suggestion is going to take leadership. If it is to be done, then
I agree.
All right,
we're not lacking of that leadership.
Well,
we are not lacking of it. We are not lacking of the right spaces for the right places. We just need to. We're not lacking of the leadership.
I know that.
That's what I'm saying.
Will you lead
the effort? We're not lacking.
Will you lead the effort, my brother? Will you tell your children that I led the effort for the Black Bank and here we are, bankers?
Yes, I am willing to lead the effort.
Give thanks. Yes. We're what we do. And are we, in telling our children about their future, will we be able to say, I did not just say this, but I did this? Hotep? Hotep, my brother, go ahead.
And they will understand.
What are we going to tell our children about their future, my brother?
Well, I want to ask you, Angela, you think we can live to see a government, like a prime minister becomes, the age of him becomes like 25 or 30?
What are you going to tell your children about that? What are you going to tell your children about their future?
Well, I just asking that question because these politicians on the see right now.
We want some suggestions on the table. We want some concrete analysis of our situation, and then to say, what are we going to tell our children about their future? That is why I open the phone lines in this segment. Think about it, my brother. Think about it and call me back. Thank you. 974-5079-5051-5043 1-888-991-4152. We are bearing witness in Jamaica to a non-reversible land heist, a non-reversible giving away and sale of our lands. This will displace the most vulnerable among us. This will displace the majority of us. Put your hand up if you own land. Raise your hands if you own land. And if you don't own land, what are you going to tell your children about their future? And will you stand by and continue to bear witness? And then to quarrel about it later on. Hotep?
Yes, greetings, Sister Andrea.
Hotep, my brother, turn your radio down.
Yeah, man, I'm just
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, man, firstly, nobody needs to make an own land apart from the maroon. Every land title is a landholder.
Do you have a land title? Let us get it from there. Do you have a land title? Are you a land owner?
Well, I'm a holder.
Are you a land holder?
Yeah, a holder.
Right, so let's ask that question. Are you a land holder?
Yeah, man, that's the question.
Do you have, and I'm not asking you personally. Let me throw that out, yes. Because we don't want to split hairs. Yes, go ahead.
You know, we have to start from hooking them up with them pass. You understand? They have to know that they come from, they come from Bogle, they come from Taki. They have to know that everything we have now, we get to choose struggle, we get to choose going against the odds, and we get to choose standing up and working together. And for them know that the system will hold it back the stop. So it's up to every generation to work, for win back what we have and even go beyond what we did there.
All right,
that's basically what we need to tell the children.
All right, okay, thank you. Our children about their future. Hotep?
Hotep, Sister Andrea.
Hotep, my brother.
How are you doing, Sister Andrea, morning?
I am doing very well if you are well.
But I really like to be well, Sister Andrea, but the situation where they reach us, no right.
You're not so well?
No.
Well, if one among us is not so well, then we're all not so well.
That's right, Sister Andrea.
Yes.
As regards to the land situation,
yes.
And it touched me right now, Sister Andrea, because I was abused when I started in Ochi, you know.
Yes?
Yeah, man, down by Ocean 11 the morning, when them come and say, them come via taxi men. Them say how much we have a boom up ship and all kind of something. That time I Ocean 11, they want to take away, you know.
They said you're terrorists?
No, we are not terrorists. We're supposed to be businessmen and taxi operators in Ontario.
They told the taxi operators that they were going to bomb up the ships?
We are going to bomb up the ships, so we can't go down there no more. So in the morning when them started, and one policeman and them crew come, and I call the taxi man, them say, make we defend this, come, we go down there and defend this. And when we turn down the road, I said, me not run from the police because me don't know wanted man or nothing. One police boy named Taylor, jump me up in my waist, ice me on my toe. I said, me can't go down there. I know, see the Ocean 11. So, you see from the start, just after 9/11, I know down there Ocean 11, the beach young so gone. When me see some little watchers people, usually go down there morning time and catch them back.
That beach gone?
No, Ocean 11, that's always a beach where in the morning time, the watchers citizens go down there and get a little bath.
Yes, so what happened to that beach? Them dump it up or them take it away?
No, you know, see Ocean 11 cover it off and nobody can go around there.
Oh, there's a beach around there still?
Used to.
Okay.
There used to be a beach around there morning time. You see some watchers citizens go down there and catch them bath and go back. So Ocean 11 take it completely.
Yeah, what me say now? Ocean 11 build, them dump up the land and build Ocean 11 on the beach or the beach is still?
They not dump them, use like jam down Sydney night and fancy right round and you can't go down there.
Oh, I see what you mean. You don't have no access to that.
No access.
Right, and then as a taxi man, you can't even go on.
Yeah, you earning power, everything cut. You understand?
Yes. So what was, and the reason for that is that they don't bump up the ship.
Politicians, they want to make see the name Ocean 11 now, we want beach where the citizens them have for curious.
So who own Ocean 11 now?
A politician, man. Some politician own it.
Is a politician own it?
Yeah, some politician when you're manly boy.
Oh, really?
All them get us so God he knows.
Well, we have to have a conversation with Mr. Manley Boyne then.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Shiny need to explain it.
Boy, my brother, stay away.
It's wicked, man. It's wicked. I know the fisherman, them know them gone out there. So no, out the run river, me that tap more time and go down there evening time and get a bath. You can't go down and then place there again. It's wicked.
You see, when I came to Ochi, you know, there was almost, you can't go up to any beach. You can walk on any road. You can't just walk in on a beach. You also can walk through the hotel and go to the beach. And then, first of all, them close off the hotel.
Yeah.
And the reason why we had to walk through the hotel and go to the beach is that they had blocked off the other entrance. But the beach was a public beach, so we used to walk to. Do you remember that Mallard's beach there?
Yeah, man.
And you walk through the hotel. Right, but now in Ochi, now in St. Anne, and remember now, we're not just talking about St. Anne, we're talking about Jamaica.
I'm with you with all of them.
In St. James, in Harbour,
Jamaica, you know.
in Portland.
Yeah.
We have a situation where Jamaicans are denied access to the beach. You can't go there. So my brother, the question I'm asking, what are we going to tell our children about this?
Well, we need to get up and stand up for the right, you know, Sister Andrea. But we don't know up to the people, you know. And I know Marcus Garvey are inside to it.
We are the people,
Bob Marley are inside to
my
it.
brother.
Mr. Perkins, everybody, and nobody.
We are the people. The people we are talking about are you. The people are me. So we can't wait for the people because if we wait for the people then nobody now go. We have to see ourselves as a people and stand up for something or fall for anything.
No, I guess this is we must 54 years of age. I have to think now, figure America because of all these situations.
No, my brother, you know, I think both figure on America. Let us stand up for
all these situations. We have a taxi operator now. We tourist board put out bulletin say they now go renew for a license. If we know have a park at a hotel. We create this thing and know how we can handle for a business. Now them come and put draconian law that we can handle for a business no more.
Yes, because the Juta have a park there.
Huh?
The Juta, you can't park there or you go park there for you not belong to certain club. These are some of the things that we have to stand. The apartheid laws in Jamaica, the apartheid policies being put in willy-nilly by Jamaica Tourist Board and any other TPDCO and any UDC and any other agency in Jamaica must stop. But we, the people, will have to stand up against it. My brother, that's one of the things we have to do, so we have something to tell our children about the future. Thank you, yeah?
Yes, Sister Andrea, all the best, yeah?
Yeah, man. You know, we have to do something, though. It is not even, it is how people are being deprived of making a livelihood in Jamaica. And when you deprive them to the point that their hands are outstretched and they're begging, you give them Jeep, go cut the street side. Hotep, my brother.
Yes, sister.
What are you going to tell your children about their future?
Well, there's a lot, sister.
Yes.
There's a lot, you know. In the name of Allah, I call on all of my brothers and sisters this morning because I have lost a member of my family. I don't know if you hear about the incident with this new gent, and I heard nothing concrete from the police. It's just a bag of stupidness with it. He was killed in the station.
What? Yes.
Yes, good. You're supposed to know who is talking. It's the Urgent Road manager talking.
Okay,
you know?
Yes.
Good, and you see, what I want people to realize that every day this thing getting serious and serious. Another story. They just keep making some like a story. There's only one way to this situation, you know. As the Nation of Islam say, whenever the infidel of the world rise up against us, we must take up arms and fight any means necessary on any foreign side to defend our brothers and sisters' rights at any cost. So maybe we might have to have a Arab Spring here in Jamaica to clean up the police force and clean up these politicians. I'm not speaking of one, I'm speaking of opposition and members of government, because these boys are so dirty that whatever one do, the other come and do the same. And there's nothing going to be doing to it unless they just get rid of these people.
Yes, and
the same way they launch genocide on us, ethnic cleansing, the same way we have to do the same thing to them. Because the police believe that they have all rights to do whatever they want and to come with some stories at all time. Carl Williams is another puppet, just like Obama, you know. He's another puppet this them put up in front of we here in Jamaica, you know.
My brother, what are you going to tell your children about their future?
I only have one thing in mind, knowing that we are Africans. I am not a Jamaican, because the people of Jamaica must remember this. When you pay tax, you're only a landowner. You're not owning the land, you're only holding the land for the Queen. And everything is done in the name of the Queen. I've been there to England, I've seen it, I've served time there. I know everything about them system. We are just here as slave children to collect our repatriation money and move on. And that's what we should supposed to be standing up for. Just collect our money and move on, because we have nothing here. This land belongs to the Queen, and the Queen and the Spanish can't fight over it.
You must understand that with the exception of Ethiopia, all of Africa was also colonized.
Of course.
All right. So that's a question as we think about what we're going to tell our children about their future.
Yeah.
Thank you, my brother.
One of the things, you know, Sister Kabu, we have to stop praying, close our eyes and pray, because that was what the white people do.
My brother.
One of the things, you know, Sister Kabu, we have to stop praying, close our eyes and pray, because that was what the white people do. You know, when the African bow down and pray, they switch away the gold and put Bible in front of them. So when they open them eyes, they see this big black book and they tell them to read it.
Thank you very much, my brother. We'll see you at the National Arena next week, Sunday. We're broadcasting this program live. From
only way I will be there unless my DJ Turgan is going to be on your program. If not, I won't be coming. Honestly, Sister Andrea.
Well, it's not my event. It belongs to the Nation of Islam. They've asked us. It's a business arrangement. We go there to cover.
Yeah.
All right. Give thanks.
Give thanks.
All right. When your house is burning, it's no use beating the tom-toms. Amilcar Cabral says, we're not going to eliminate imperialism by shouting insults against it. For us, the best or worst shout against imperialism, whatever its form, is to take up arms and fight. Amilcar Cabral. When your house is burning down, it's no use beating the tom-toms. Hotep? Hotep?
Good morning.
Yes, Hotep, my brother, go ahead.
Well, I'm a sister.
Oh, greetings, my sister. What are we going to tell our children about their future? I'm very happy to have you on the line.
Well, you know, to tell our children about their future is something that should be protocol. But as you can see, nowadays, we have to be very careful what we tell them about their future, because their future is designed and marked out for them the way they should live it. So in a sense, parents are somehow hopeless in this moment, even to guide their children about their future. But while that is the truth, and while that is the reality, we still have to talk to them. One of the things that we should really tell our children is that they must live in the reality of their moment, meaning in their everyday life, everything that they are a part of now is what they're going to be confronted with in this future that we're talking about. And so, as harsh and as difficult as it is, where do we begin? We look at how in Jamaica, we look at our children and we see that if they continue to even eat the way we are allowing them to eat, there might not even be a future for them in the physical. Because our governments and our private sectors have teamed up to become modern-day slave masters for our children. They care not about what the stuff that are imported into the country, into the schools for them to eat, like on break, for breakfast, for lunch. The very food that they are getting to eat are determining their future for us.
My sister, you have made some really, really good points, and that's why I'm giving you the time to talk, because, you know, it is an excellent point you make about even how our children eat, and what we tell them about even what they're putting in, what they're ingesting, is going to be important for their future. What we tell them now is going to be important for whether or not they're alive, or whether or not they're healthy, whether or not they can face their future as strong men and women. Thank you so much, my sister. Appreciate it. 1 or 3 minutes to 7. What are we going to tell our children about their future? 99. Greetings, my brother.
Yeah, well, one of the things that we can tell them, is the truth. What are some of the atrocities that has meted out to us by our authorities? However, it should not just be that, but what we have done to have tried to prevent it, and what they should do to make sure what we have gone through don't happen, because we have laid back too much and allowed these things to happen. So they should not grow up and come and do the same thing. Be aware of all the hurdles that them put in the ways, and what we could not have done, they should make sure so that it happened.
67, Che Guevara was assassinated in Bolivia at the behest of the CIA. They then, at the time, hoped that his death would deal a shattering blow to the influence of the Cuban Revolution in the region. Well, we know now that they were dead wrong. Dead wrong in thinking that the ideas for which Che Guevara fought and died could be ended with a bullet. It's 47 years since the death of Che Guevara. The Cuban Revolution continues as a beacon of hope and inspiration to that country, and to also the underdeveloped across the world. In 1965, Che Guevara left Cuba for Congo to aid in the liberation movement against the Belgian colonialists. It's an interesting point to make. So we are remembering and recalling this segment of the program. Jamaicans are very concerned still about chikungunya. We have been talking about this disease since 2011, and have been conducting interviews on this since 2012. An emerging virus, we were told, and also told that it was likely to be in the Caribbean, and that Caribbean countries should have been on high alert. Quick break. Dr. Babatunde Olowokure is the director of the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPA, Surveillance, Disease Prevention and Control. And he's joining me now from Trinidad on the telephone lines. And as I said before, director of CARPA. Dr. Babatunde, thank you so much for joining us on the Africa Forum this morning. Welcome to this space.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
All right, we're happy to have you, my brother. As you know very well, lots of panic, lots of conversations, discussions, myths and scaremongering too, in a way, here in Jamaica regarding the chikungunya virus. As a matter of fact, I said earlier, I don't think that there is a family in Jamaica who's not been affected personally by the virus. Can you give us an idea of, is this replicated Caribbean-wide? Which Caribbean countries are now facing the biggest problem with chikungunya?
Thank you very much for your question. Now, what I would like to say is that the chikungunya virus is transmitted by a mosquito. And that particular mosquito is spread across the whole of the Caribbean. So all countries within the Caribbean will face this particular disease. If they have not already reported cases, they will be doing so in the near future. So preparedness is very, very important. Jamaica is not alone across the region. There are many countries many islands which are facing this particular phenomenon, and it will be with us for a while.
Wow. And when you say with us for a while, what does that mean?
Well, it means that basically we are currently in what we would call the epidemic phase or the acute phase, where a new disease has arrived in the region. The majority of people within the Caribbean region have never encountered this disease before. So they have what we might call naive immune systems, or their immune systems have not seen this particular type of disease. So every person within the population of the Caribbean is susceptible to this type of disease. And so therefore, with chikungunya, if the mosquito bites you, it is infected with the virus, it is very likely that you will get the disease. Now, when I say it will be with us for a while, basically, once it's here, it's going to be here to stay unless a program of elimination for the vector or the carrier of the virus, which is the mosquito, is carried out successfully.
And that's a question I want to jump at. And just before I go there, though, do you mind saying where in the Caribbean now for our listeners? We feel, I think that because it's so serious in Jamaica, that there's an insular response that, we are going through this. And really and truly, we're not even looking outside to see what else is happening. So can you say where else in the Caribbean we're seeing the outbreak and is it, can you make a comparison, if you will, to Jamaica, because it's pretty serious here?
Yes, I think how do I put this? Basically, every country in the Caribbean is experiencing this. English-speaking Caribbean, the French-speaking Caribbean, and the Spanish-speaking Caribbean, and also countries bordering the Caribbean Sea. And so we do have, clearly, it's already made landfall in America, it's already in Venezuela, and it's in the U.S. Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, but closer to home, Jamaica, Haiti, Guyana, Grenada, Dominica, Curacao, I could go on and on. Mm-hmm. Every country, every island basically has been affected.
And is it as serious as it is in Jamaica?
Well, when we say serious, I think we need to be
serious in terms of the prevalence. I mean, in terms of the prevalence.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. And I think what we need to recognize is that in terms of the disease itself, as I said earlier, every island has a population which has never encountered this disease before, and therefore it will affect everybody almost equally, particularly in terms of the number of cases that we see visiting healthcare physicians, those visiting hospitals, and those who also suffer sometimes just a mild form of the disease, and so all they may have is the fever and maybe some joint pains, and then they self-treat, and therefore we don't actually see those people, and they're what we would call the ones that we see are the tip of the iceberg. Those are the ones who are seen by healthcare services, and the ones we don't see, who are the majority in healthcare services, they either self-treat.
All right, did we lose you? I think we lost Dr. Babatunde. Can we get him back online, please? Dr. Babatunde Olowokure. He is the director of the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPA, Surveillance, Disease Prevention and Control. Looking with him this morning at the emergence of chikungunya in the Caribbean, and want to talk a little bit about the response of, responses of health officials across the region to the epidemic, and want to look ahead. I want to ask him also about his concern of the other viruses that we're now seeing emerging in the Americas, in the Caribbean, and so on. And this would involve the enterovirus EVD68, which has now, up to last night, has now killed 5 children in the United States of America. It's interesting that we're not hearing much about that on the local newscast. And as Muta Baruka said last Thursday, the information on the enterovirus D68 is only heard and aired here at IRFM. And then, also sparsely. And the question one must ask is, why is that? When we hear, and we dare say that we've heard a description from a parent of a death of his child, and the symptoms. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm not diagnosing anything. But I sat up because the symptoms are exactly the symptoms of the EVD68. So we're asking ourselves, this is a virus that's wreaking havoc in the United States. Over 600 children, and when we say children, we're talking about, young children up to 18. That's the age range that this virus is attacking. In America, they have, I think, 2 adults. All right, I think we have back on the phone with us Dr. Babatunde. Dr. Babatunde, we lost you, so thank you so much for rejoining.
No problem.
All right. I want to go on a bit to look at the concern of CARPA in terms of response of public health official, but also in terms of responses from individuals. What are your main concerns in terms of how persons are responding to chikungunya?
Thank you for that question. It's a very, very important question. I mean, what we have to really remember is that the responsibility for actually taking action with regards to prevention of this particular disease rests with the individual. And therefore, the individual needs to take into account a number of factors, mainly that this particular, the insect vector, actually has been referred to as a pet. And so therefore the mosquito is domesticated. It lives in and around our homes, and it affects individuals both within the home and in the work environment, but also affects their families as well. And what we, CARPA, would like to see across the region is better control by individuals of their environment, and so therefore looking for ways to prevent the collection of water in either rubbish, which is left lying around, either in their yard or nearby. Also looking at their own households, and so therefore ensuring that their gutters allow water to flow freely. If they are storing water within their yard, that water is covered properly, and so therefore doesn't allow the mosquito to actually get inside water containers to breed or to lay over. And also ensuring that if you have plants outside your home or inside your home, that if you're watering these plants, that you at least clean out any collection of water in the sources below at least twice a week. And so looking around your yard twice weekly, cleaning the environment, and then also taking individual protection measures where possible. So therefore you should wear long-sleeved pants and clothing. I know very difficult in the Caribbean climate, but this is what we would recommend. Or the use of insect repellent, and this may be put on your skin directly, or you may wish to spray that on clothing as well to protect yourself. And then there are a number of what we would call mechanical measures which can be used. And so this is sleeping under an insecticide-treated bed net, or failing that, a bed net, or having screens on your doors and windows, and then for also ensuring that you would protect yourself basically and your household.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Babatunde, my very first interview on chikungunya was conducted in 2012. We started talking about it in 2011 when the CDC and PAHO issued their alert to say, this is a virus that is likely to make its way into the Americas. Were we underprepared Caribbean-wise, do you think? Could we have been more prepared, or this is it?
I think every country in the region could have been a little bit better prepared. That is not to say that they did not prepare, but I think we could always be better prepared, and hindsight is always a good thing. I think what we need to do is to take what has happened, take those lessons that we have learned, and then move ahead in terms of ensuring that the messages that we require for people to understand, which is that this particular virus is carried by a mosquito, that it does breed in water containers around the household, that there are methods for prevention, which we are aware of, but that these lie mainly with the individuals and their communities, and there should not be an over-reliance on government to provide countermeasures.
I noticed that we're getting a lot of self-diagnosis. There's, people recognize symptoms, diagnose themselves, and so on. Is there a caution on this? Is this replicated across the Caribbean, and would you caution on this?
Yes, this is being replicated across the Caribbean. And I think in some ways it's good, and and it helps us, because clearly with the numbers of people that we are seeing across the Caribbean, then there will be a lot of pressure on healthcare services if everybody was to turn up at a healthcare provider. Mm-hmm. So knowing that the disease itself is one that causes an acute fever, but also is associated with a rash, and also the very characteristic signs, which are joint pains, joint swellings, and also difficulty in moving, then it's clear that you will have many people who will self-diagnose. Mm-hmm. However, if they do find that these, if they are self-diagnosing and they are taking treatment, either treatment to reduce their fever or treatment to reduce the joint pain, if it becomes severe, they should go and see a medical doctor.
Right, because I was going to ask, in that regard, are we likely to see similar diseases that present similar viruses being missed? I'm talking about, the range of viruses that look like the chikungunya, whatever, dengue, and so on. And I know there are others. Is there a concern that, persons could misdiagnose themselves?
Yes, I mean, this is always potentially possible because the symptoms for both dengue and chikungunya are quite similar. And so you will have the acute fever with both dengue and chikungunya. But with chikungunya, you are more likely to have a rash on your body, and also to have severe pain in the joints. And so although dengue may also produce body aches, as we would call them, it's the severe joint pain and swelling which is characteristic of chikungunya and sets it apart from dengue. And usually if somebody is suffering severely and they present to their healthcare provider, they will usually try to eliminate the dengue as a cause first.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Babatunde, I want to ask you about two other issues that are not directly chikungunya, but talking about virus and our concerns here in the Caribbean. There is a virus that is spreading across the U.S. now. It is really spreading fast. We have 600 and odd people, children, being diagnosed. We have, up to last night, we had another death. 5 children now dead from this. Not a lot of reporting on this. But the enterovirus D68, is there a concern in the Caribbean about this, considering that 43 states in the United States of America are now affected, and we understand in the last few days it has also spread to Canada, and that it is prevalent in Latin America?
Yes, we always monitor infections which are happening globally, but particularly focusing on the Americas and diseases that have the potential to come across to the Caribbean, because clearly we recognize that given the ease of travel and the amount of travel between the Caribbean region and the Americas, there is the potential for diseases both to go to the Americas, but also to come into the Caribbean. So we are monitoring this particular situation very, very closely.
That's EVD68?
Yes, that's correct.
Right. There's no reporting on it in the Caribbean. There's no reporting on it in Jamaica, for that matter. Is it something that we should at least, and this is a question I asked in 2012 about chikungunya, by the way, but is it something that we should at least be saying, hey, to parents? We have lots of travel between the U.S. and America. I'd give you a quick background, and I'm no doctor, so I'm not diagnosing anything, but I sat down and listened to a dad describe the death of his child recently, and looking at EVD68 and hearing the symptoms, where he talked about the neck, he talked about the face, he talked about the sudden paralysis and total paralysis and so on. And I'm saying, we should at least be asking, it doesn't sound like chikungunya, but so we should at least be asking, was that EVD68? It's the very same symptoms that children in America are experiencing.
Well, there is. You can ask that question, but we should also be clear that the actual spectrum of symptoms is a little bit different. So the EVD68, or the enterovirus D68, is mainly a disease which will cause respiratory illness, and the type of symptoms you will see with that are really, again, you will see the fever, which you would encounter with chikungunya, and you may also see the muscle aches. But with the EVD68, what you will have are respiratory symptoms, so wheezing, difficulty in breathing, and then also it tends to be a little bit more severe in those who have a predisposition to asthma or are asthmatic. Mm-hmm. And so this particular virus, the EVD68, it will affect mainly the respiratory symptoms.
And that's a critical point, because that's what jumped out of me when the dad said, he has asthma. The asthma didn't really act up, but, he kept saying this over and over. He has asthma. I think that there needs to be a better understanding of this disease that is ravaging the United States. All right, so let us move quickly to Ebola in just a few minutes that we have left. I know we're going over time. But, great concern about Ebola. Is there a concern that Ebola might reach into the Caribbean? I know you said earlier that, yes, if there's a disease going on because of travel and so on and the globalized environment we're living in, we are on the alert. How alert are we? How prepared are we, Caribbean-wise, for Ebola?
I think we are at a situation where, again, as we've seen, any country in the world can be affected. So even the United States of America, with its advanced technology and systems, even Spain also, where they looked after a case of Ebola virus disease that came from Africa. All systems within the Caribbean, all nations within the Caribbean are on alert with regards to this. We together with our partners in PAHO, WHO, as well as USCDC, have been working together with the member states, looking at the systems in place and providing advice on how to respond to, how to prepare, as well as how to respond to a potential case of, or a potential person who arrives in the Caribbean with Ebola virus disease.
I did an interview a few years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago, with an officer from the DEA. And that interview was about how trafficking of hard drugs was happening between, say, the Caribbean, Latin America, and West Africa. And we actually traced that route. And there were great concerns at the time about how porous those borders were. And I know that the Caribbean waters have been militarized and so on. But is there any concern at all that even though we have not been talking about it, that the trafficking of hard drugs between the western coast of Africa, the Latin American countries, and the Caribbean, that we could see an outbreak that we are not prepared for?
I think it's really one of the it is one of the scenarios that is being examined in terms of how we can respond to that, particularly given the porosity of the borders. But we should be very clear. I think the first instance that we will have a notification that there is a potential person with Ebola virus disease is when that person turns up at a healthcare center. It's very difficult to monitor people going through airports and going through seaports in relation to Ebola virus disease, because the incubation period of the disease is about 3 weeks. So it's between 2 to 21 days before anybody starts to show symptoms. And they are not infected until they do start to show those symptoms. This makes it very difficult for us to protect the borders, but clearly there are ways to identify a person once they have presented to the healthcare services with a fever, and so therefore we would need to ask them a certain number of questions, and we would anticipate that they would answer as honestly as possible, given that they have turned up at a healthcare centre and are seeking healthcare treatment.
All right, I really kept you on much longer than you should be, but because you're such a good subject, thank you very much, Dr. Babatunde. We really appreciate you coming on and helping us to understand so much more about these emerging viruses that we're faced with in the Caribbean. Really a great help to us this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
All right. Dr. Babatunde Oloworke, who is the director of the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPA.
I didn't come here tonight to change your religion. If you're a Christian and you're happy, that's fine with me. If you're a Hebrew and you're happy, that's fine with me. If you don't have no religion and don't want one, that's fine with me. But as black men, we have to change our behavior and become real men.
Don't miss the strong voice of truth, Minister Louis Farrakhan, Sunday, October 19, 12 noon at the National Arena. Bring the entire family. It's the Lime Super Cup. Kicking off Saturday, October 18, 2014. 4 weeks, 16 schools play for pride and cash prizes of more than $2 million. Follow your school and don't miss a match. Get your free tickets at select Lime locations. Participating schools are in the Jamaica Observer. Fantastic halftime entertainment with surprise performances. It's the ultimate national knockout competition. The Champions League of schoolboy football. And it's brought to you by Pepsi, Huawei, Nike, Jamaica Observer, Zip 103 FM, and Irie FM. See Lime Facebook page for...
That is all well and good, but who's going to talk on economic terrorism? Who's going to talk about economic terrorism? And which resolution should we as a people of Jamaica, we the people, which resolution should we sign on to ensure that we have a conversation about economic terrorism and the economic terrorism that the government, JLP and PNP of Jamaica have been unleashing on the people of Jamaica for such a long time? Who's going to talk up on economic terrorism? What resolution should we sign? Point us to the document. In the meantime, go to change.org. You'll see that or go to my Facebook page, because we have a document that we're asking you to sign. It says it's sent to the Prime Minister of Jamaica also, but it says, the government of Jamaica, please do not give away the Roaring River watershed to China. So who's going to talk about economic terrorism? The poor continue to suffer from the terrorism of a structural adjustment policies of the Bretton Woods institution, such as the IMF. Which document can I sign to ensure that we also stay in the debate on terrorism, economic terrorism? We have to call it what it is. We the people want to know. All right, going to be going into the next segment of the program. We understand that the fisherfolk and shop owners at the Fisherman's Beach here in Ochi, and that's pretty close to Little Duns River, by the way, and it's also close to Duns River. Fisherman's Beach, it's been there for ages, and the fisherfolk have been going there for ages. The shops, there were 2 shops, then there were 3, then there were 5, and then there's around 25 small business operators, very well supported by Jamaicans across the length and breadth of Jamaica, Fisherman's Beach, and the fisherfolk and the shop owners and the business people, small business people at Fisherman's Beach. We understand now, though, that they are being told that they have to vacate the property, vacate the beach, to leave the beach for 9 months. We're getting to the bottom of it. And we have in the studio with us the fisherfolk and shop owners, Donovan, Chris Lowe, Dave, Olive, Blue. Oh, because I'm saying I have more people on that. All right. We have Orville Grant, who is the president. We have Chris Lou, who is the vice president. Alfred Gordon, secretary. Noel Lawrence, chairman. Gillette Taylor, assistant treasurer. Marjorie Campbell, assistant secretary. Eltrose Geddes, treasurer. Olive Byfield, PRO. Dor Roberts, PRO. And representing the ministers fraternal here in this region, we have our Paul Bogle in real time, the Reverend Carlton Mullings, minister for the Ochi Church of Christ. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the program. Reverend Mullings, welcome to you, sir. I don't think I have all your microphones on, so let me do that. All right, I just want to, and we were saying that the president and so on, there's an organization, Fisherman's Beach organization?
Yeah, yes. Sailors Fisherman's property.
Sorry, say that again?
The Ochi Sailors was Fisherman's property. Yes.
All right.
A steering committee in place.
All right. Who's speaking now?
Orville Grant.
The President, Orville Grant. All right, Orville, just go to the middle microphone for me, please, because I'm not hearing you too well there. All right, and okay, so this is an organization that is part of the for embracing everyone. Oh, morning. Yes, man, I recognize you. All right, so you're the president of the group. Tell me, what is the group exactly?
Well, we have been active for a while. In a couple of years, we've been fighting hard to tackle issues regarding Fisherman's Beach and everything regarding.
All right, as a president, tell us what's happening there. Did the government, the UDC, ask you to move from the property?
Well, basically, the ochi development program that's going on.
Yes.
Started over by the cruise ship pier, and I suppose that we're phase 2.
You're phase 2 in that ochi development program.
Right. The Little Duns River is a phase 2, so they're not there as yet. But I think we'll be next in line.
Hold on a second. What do you mean by that? What does he mean by that, Rev? This is just an aside.
I don't know.
Okay, I don't know either. Yes, go ahead, my brother. Yes.
Yeah, what do I mean by what?
Little Duns River is also that.
It is done in phases.
Right, so what is going to happen at Little Duns River?
I'm not sure. But,
okay, all right. No, but we're hearing you. All right, yes.
Okay, and in last year, we were invited to a meeting at the Anglican Church in the Letter.
Yes.
And stakeholders, us from the beach. And the meeting, it was kept in a one-day period, divided into 2. Our situation was in the morning, and Little Duns River was in the evening.
Right.
I had the privilege of being in both meetings. I was invited after our meeting was finished. So I kind of have
an idea of what happened in both places. So what happened? So tell us about that meeting. What were you told at that meeting last year?
Well, basically, because we were located, strategically located, where the view from the ocean and the cruise ship pier, they said it was an eyesore. Yeah. So it was just to uplift the place development-wise, because the development process is taking place all over along the North Coast.
All right, so what they're saying is that the Fisherman's Beach is an eyesore from the sea.
From the sea.
Right, to who?
Well, I suppose the cruise ship.
Okay, so Fisherman's Beach is an eyesore to the cruise ship.
Right.
The ship can see? Rob, the ship can see, sir? When did you say it's to the cruise ship? It's an eyesore to who?
The cruise ship passengers, I suppose.
The cruise ship passengers?
Yes.
All right, so cruise ship passengers don't like the view?
No, not really. Right. They don't like the view. They would like to uplift it. They
want to uplift it. And nothing is wrong with giving things a facelift. All right, so what does this facelift entail?
Well, initially, they had promised to pull down 80% of the shops and reconstruct them in a better manner, more uniform.
Right.
Maybe using one design type of material. Right. And that's understandable.
Right. What kind of shops are there now? Are there concrete structures that are there now?
No, they're all wooden structures.
Wooden structures.
Yeah.
All right. So that they want to pull down and rebuild.
Right.
And to pull down and rebuild, you have to leave the property?
No, well, in the early stages, they had promised to do it in sections.
Right.
So they promised to pull one section down, rebuild, pull the next section down. But the last thing I heard, it was like a total pull down all at once. Close down the beach and for construction.
Right. The little that you know of construction, Rev, you have to pull down the entire thing to. Do the people have to leave in your personal estimation?
No, I don't think so. I don't think they have to leave. I think it can be done in sections.
Right.
Things are being done in sections all along.
Even right here at IRFM, as you come through, you'd have seen the work that's happening.
Exactly.
If we are to vacate all of IRE, then what happens? So while we build, while we just put up a little sign and we don't even have one up. If we know so many persons were coming, probably just excuse us while we renovate. So put up a sign to say, excuse us while I renovate. We're renovating section 1, then section 2, then section 3. But they're asking you to vacate.
Well,
for how long?
9 months.
9 months. So it's going to take 9 months to rebuild. While you vacate for that 9 months, are they relocating you somewhere else in the meantime?
No.
Yes, Mr. President, Orville.
At first, they had promised to, as I said, do it in sections, right? And they would eventually provide employment for those out of operation while construction is going on in the construction section, right? Just to keep everybody earning. But with this new initiative, that's like 9 months out complete. That's impossible.
And you don't know if you're getting any. You're not being relocated.
No. Well,
you're small business operators, all of you. How many people inside here?
All Fisherfolks.
Yeah, man, but it's small business.
Right, but guess what?
Fisherfolk are small business operators.
We get something across the board, right? We are all fisherfolks.
It's about 20 people inside here?
No, not so much.
Okay, 10, 11, 12?
We are all associated.
Right.
We are all associated with the fishing.
You're associated with fishing.
Everyone is here,
Right, you operate a business. You, Mr. President, you operate a shop.
We all have fishermen's license. We all fishermen's. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So you're being told now that you have to leave the beach for 9 months. But as it is now, you have not heard if you're going to be relocated.
No.
Well.
As far as you know, are you going to be relocated?
No.
Well,
no, you're not going to be relocated.
Is not the issue, Andrew. They said eventually, after making the assessment with all the shops and fishermen, they would eventually give us the first choice. That means
first choice to do what?
Meaning
to go back to your shop?
Meaning all the shops that will be constructed will be given to us as first priority, and then anything additional would be for anybody outside.
No, you realize that I'm asking you. So no, let everybody understand what you're saying.
Yeah, right.
All right, so they're going to knock down everything you've got there.
Rebuild.
They're going to rebuild.
Yes.
And then they're going to rent you?
Yes. And if you cannot pay the property,
then you're out. You have to leave.
And if you can't pay the rent?
You have to leave and they take some money.
Come forward, my sister. Who this?
You have to leave.
What's your name? What's your name? Is that Marjorie, Assistant Secretary? Yes. Tell us about that, Marjorie.
I can't hear.
No, Marjorie, man. Marjorie. Yes, let me hear from Marjorie for a minute there. Right? Yes. Go ahead, Marjorie. You're saying that...
come on.
No, you're not Marjorie.
Good morning, Mr. Andrew.
No, hold on, my brother. Give me 1 minute. I soon talk to you. We could just hear from Marjorie 1 minute. Yeah, go ahead, Marjorie. We're talking to the fisherfolk and the shop owners and the small business people who operate on the Fisherman's Beach in Ochi. Yes, Marjorie, as Assistant Secretary. You're saying that, what do you know? What do you understand that is going to happen once the shops are built over?
Okay, Miss Andrea. What I get to understand from the SDC people, including UDC, whenever they rebuild the shops, we have to pay rent. And to my knowledge, whenever I cannot afford the rent, I have to leave and I rent it to you. Right? They put me out and rent it to somebody else. Yes. And what I would want, the refurbishing is good, but don't rent us. If you find the material and build over the shops, charge us some money. Say, well, all right then, we do XY. We're going to charge you $50,000. Pay it however you can pay it, and whenever you finish paying that building is still yours. We want it to pass on to our children and our children, because that's what is done. My father was there. My brother was there, and they all gone. All of us here had 4 parents there, and it down to us.
Who can tell us about the history of the fisherman?
This gentleman here.
All right.
This is Mr. Lawrence, my chairman.
Mr. Lawrence.
Yeah, he's I think he's the most experienced.
He's the chairman, Mr. Noel Lawrence. Yes. Morning, Mr. Noel Lawrence. Yes.
Yes, Mr. Andrew. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Tell us a little bit about the history of that. How the fishermen came to be there. Tell us a little bit of what you know.
All right. Ochi was known to be in a fishing village. And I'm the fourth generation of Ochi. My father, and his wife, and then his father and his mother. Then my grandmother was born and grown in Ochi, dead 108 years and approximately 25 years from this time. Mm-hmm. And she was a fish vendor. She raised 5 children. My grandfather was a fisherman that go out and catch a fish, take it back to my grandmother, and they sell the fish to raise their children. Fede Mattis, one of the pioneers of Ochi, had been raising children for all these years. Children that becomes pastors, teachers, and good standing people in this society. So Ochi was known as a main street, one-way street fishing village.
Yes.
There wasn't any job that surrounding Ochi otherwise from a laundry that the ladies usually go and do some ironing and washing, but the men, they have to do fishing.
Right.
So they would earn their living. They would earn their living from selling the fruit of the community and selling cow milk and selling fish. CO Plaza was the designated spot when it was just a bar and a small shop wasn't developed where it is. And so the people from Fisherman Beach would come and launch out on the floor and sell their fish and sell their goodies and send their children to school. So this is one of the greatest heritage that Ochire's people survive and live after. So it becomes a wider family. So the place becomes growing and we embrace and accept the development of other people coming to Ochire's. But it was like 5 families.
But all of your 4 parents, as far as you know, go back 4 generations.
That's through fishing.
Right, that into fishing. So your great, and then great, and then great.
Even right now, my sons, they are doing fishing.
Right. And so how did you move now to the Fisherman's Beach where you are now?
All right, there's a man by the name of Wrigley Beard from Great Pan, a pastor husband.
Yes.
He's now deceased quite some time.
Yes.
And so he was a JP at that time. So there was a white man that owned down by Liquor River, that where Towers is. And so they in collaboration with the white man and make a bargain deal and they buy the land and gave it to Fisherman. And that's approximately about 60 years. I've been operating there now 39 years.
Yes.
So
taking over from your
from my grandparents.
Right. So you have been operating on Fisherman's Beach.
Yeah,
Fisherman's Beach?
Yeah, I operate on Fisherman Beach 39 years.
39 years, almost 40 years.
Right, taking care of 11 children.
Yes.
And so they solely depend on me as a fisherman, get the gift and the hand-down from my grandparents.
Which means that you would have been working with the UDC over time, you've been working with government over time. They would have come from time to time because you pay a license, right? You have a license fee. Right.
So what I want to endorse, there was no UDC exist at that time.
Right.
When Fisherman is operating on the property.
Right.
So it has stunned me a bit to know that UDC claim that they are the owner of the property.
It's government, you know. Government is UDC.
And the other end.
So as far as you know, who is the owner of the property? Mr. Wrigley Beard?
Yes, that is they turn it over to Fisherman.
Right, gave it to Fisherman.
So we are embracing a diagram.
Yes.
So over the years then we keep Regatta, Jack Ruby, usually take down his football team.
Right.
The soldier from Upper Camp usually come down.
Yes,
and so it was like a family.
Yes.
Ochire's in collaboration with outside of Ochire's was like a family.
Right.
On a Sunday morning, it would be like 500 or 600 people that come and enjoy the beach. They advise us to boil some porridge, make some fish tea, roast some fish and eat until they get their fish to buy and go back home.
Right.
Cook and come back.
So
as a recreation enter, that they come and enjoy their evening.
So that's how the shops spring up now because you're providing breakfast, you're providing little lunch, and so little by little the shops spring up.
Right.
Yes.
So there was no Kentucky. There was no mothers.
Right.
There was no juicy beef. There was no fast food.
There was just Fisherman's Beach.
Just Fisherman's Beach was the ideal place. Then where Sandcastle was, it was a football ground, so everybody just have Fisherman Beach as their parents.
Where the Sandcastle Hotel is now, that used to be a football ground.
Yes. Where the Fisherman Point is, that was also a bar ground too.
I remember, I know about that, yes.
There was no restaurant that surround Ochire's, so the people of Ochire's said, Fisherman, when they come hungry, we come play football and head. Provide us some simple meal like soup and porridge and fried fish and festival. So Fisherman catch on to the vision and start to take it from there.
Right. So the shops spring up.
Right. So the shops spring up. And some people migrate. Their children, their friends come and take it to a next level and do a better business.
Right, but you said there are a lot of families down there, historical families.
Yeah, definitely.
You hand over. All right, so how do you feel now, Mr. Lawrence, now that you hear that you have to leave?
No, I'm definitely feel out of place.
Are you leaving?
No, I can't afford to leave. I cannot afford to leave. Reasons, I've experienced my grandfather take it to where it is. My father take it. My father, brother take it. Now it is in my hand. I take it 39 years, and my son is operating a part of my business now. So it is totally uncomfortable and impossible for us to step out of fishing while Ochi was depending on fishing from ever since.
But you have to leave by January. This is what they say. You have to leave by January.
Yes.
All right.
I'm not sure if it is public to everybody that we are leaving. The representative of our community gave us a brief statement that they are going to do some licking down and some fixing up and build some shops.
Orville, you were at the meeting. When they tell you that you have to leave?
Well, they had a meeting in Kingston regarding the relevant organizations, but I wasn't present in that meeting. That meeting was of a upper scale.
It was above your pay grade. Right. So yes.
So, Miss Angela, Doc come and brief us. We had a dialogue with Doc.
That is the councillor?
Mr. Williams, right.
So he's here now, yes?
Yeah, he's saying that he'll get some information that things is not in order.
Right.
And the level of harassment, and the level of drugs, and the level of no sanitary convenient. So we take him a tour and see what we have to offer. And he says, right, it doesn't paint the picture like they present it. So he went to the meeting and come back and gave us some briefing.
All right, so Mr. Williams is here. Where's Mr. Dr. Williams? Oh, this is Dr. Williams sleeping there?
Yes, he's here.
Good morning, Dr. Williams. No, we're not. Dr. Williams, we're not going to argue, man. All of us want to be on the same page. All right, so this is you are the councillor for which division? We're not going to argue, man. All of us want to be on the same page. All right, so this is you are the councillor for which division?
All right, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
May I introduce myself?
All right, just lift your mic a bit since you're standing now. Just raise it. Yeah, you can raise it.
My name is Dr. Rohan Williams, and I'm the councillor, and I represent the people of the Ochi division in the St. Anne Parish Council. As you know, it falls under the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development.
All right, so we just heard, and you've been sitting there, Dr. Williams, what the fisherfolk and the small business operators on Fisherman's Beach have been saying. What can you tell us differently, or what can you debunk?
Okay, I represent and I stand in solidarity and I support the people of Ochi throughout the whole division, and I also am in solidarity and I act as a leader for the fisherfolks and the people who occupy and trade and do business at the Ochi fishing village, Sierra Old Fisherman's Beach. I have not been privileged to have been at all the meetings with the stakeholders and the fisherfolks. However, I got an email from the minister, the Honorable
Omar
Davis of the Ministry of Transport, Works and Housing, and I was invited to a stakeholders meeting in Kingston about a week ago. And so that was my first. I firstly went to meet, even prior to going into Kingston, with the folks on the beach to ascertain or to find out from them the situation which prevails, what they are faced with, and in what way I can help and support them on the issue. There are 4 things which was mentioned of concern, right? We must need to know that Ochi is Jamaica's, or perhaps it was the main port of entry for cruise ships in Jamaica, and particularly throughout the Caribbean. It has been a hub for cruise ships.
But it's now Trelawney.
And there's a reason for that.
Yes, we know.
The
but
reason
it has moved from Ochi to Trelawney.
So the reason stated by these cruise ships from moving out of Ochi into Falmouth and elsewhere is that 1, the level of harassment which prevails in the town.
From Fisherman's Beach?
2, the aesthetic appeal.
No, Dr. Williams, hang on a sec. Hang on. Because, we don't want to give a speech. We want to talk to each other. I've heard about the harassment. As a journalist, I covered the pier when it was being built. I worked at Radio Northeast. So I have been covering oterias for years. And I can tell you, I've heard about harassment from day one, even when there was hardly any. But since we are talking about Fisherman's Beach, and we have heard about the harassment in the town of Oterias, let us focus on Fisherman's Beach. Is the harassment on Fisherman's Beach the reason why the cruise ships have pulled out of Oterias?
Make him answer. Make him answer.
The harassment, one, some of which emanates from Fisherman Beach.
Not Duns River.
I don't know about Duns River. I'm speaking about Fisherman Beach.
You have to be very careful because you just stand up and say you are defending the people of Oterias and you understand.
Right.
And we have given you the platform to help us to understand.
So I'm saying that the ship pointed out harassment to these are the people who bring their ships into Oterias.
The cruise ship. It has nothing to do with the fact that the government of Jamaica decided that the Falmouth hub, the Falmouth pier, that all that creation in Falmouth, that the government decided that this is now the big place for cruise ship to come in. I remember the Member of Parliament, Shahini Robinson, I can find that tape somewhere, was very concerned about the extent to which cruise ships would be shuttled off to Trelawney as a result of the development in Trelawney, and she was right. The fact that cruise ships are going to the Falmouth Pier has nothing to do with Fisherman's Beach.
Amen. Amen.
So,
Derek.
Apparently, what I've seen is that you have already arrived at the country.
No, I'm a journalist and I'm an investigative journalist, Dr. Williams. I'll have you know that.
So
I have been covering. No, I have been. I am speaking from facts, and I can find you. I have not. Why aren't you looking at me, Dr. Williams? I'm this way. No, I'm talking to you. No, I'm very serious here. My credibility is on the line, and you're standing in a credible space. I say nothing without investigation. I do nothing without investigation. I, as a young journalist out of St. Mary High School, worked at Radio Northeast JBC here in Oterias, covered the building of the pier and covered the development of Oterias ever since that. The story that Mr. Lawrence just gave you, I can give you all my stories backing up what he has said. I have been covering this story for a very long time. All right. So you're saying that the cruise ships have pulled out and they're saying harassment, some of which emanated from Fisherman's Beach, according to you. You've also said that the presence of drugs and other contraband on Fisherman's Beach.
That's two.
And the appearance of the beachfront.
Three. Question?
No, I'm reading from your notes. The appearance of the beachfront.
Yes, the aesthetic appeal. The place is looking horrible, and it's something which we all agree. And even the folks who occupy the beach and do business there, we are all in agreement. And so it's. Let me go through my list, which is of concern. One, the potential for harassment. Two, the aesthetics of the beach. Three, the fact that there has been situations where there has been questions of whether drugs is being peddled there on the beach and contraband. And three, the absence of sanitary facilities on the beach. Those are the four issues which were discussed.
Are there no sanitary facilities on the beach?
Mr. Williams, did Fisherman give you a tour of the convenience of the sanitary? And what was your reply on that?
Right, so
that it is excellent. It is not the picture that they paint. What he's seen is okay.
Let Dr. Williams in it. Yes.
Andrea, I'm pointing out the four issues
that came up at the meeting.
Which was on the email.
Yes.
And that is what we discussed when I went into Kingston on behalf of the citizens.
So it is not that you're defending these issues. You're saying these are the issues that have been raised.
These are the issues.
All right.
So immediately on receiving that email, I went to meet with the occupants of the beach. And I pointed out to them the points of contention. These are the issues which is being said is the reason for the action which is about to be taken.
Yes.
So when I went there, one, what I learned is that the fisherfolk are aware of these situations. And on an interim basis, on cruise ship days, the security forces, a security post, right? There are security officers which are placed on the beach to alleviate the issue of harassment and perhaps sale of drugs and contraband.
Yeah, because I was down there the other day, I saw security people there.
No, the people on the beach is saying, okay, they accept this as a good addition to the beach because they want the beach to be nice and can accommodate people. So, they one of what they told me they would like me to go into Kingston and speak on their behalf is that if it could even be upgraded whereby they have security on the beach every day.
Right, and I'm sure that they don't have no problem with that.
Right.
All right, so okay, yeah.
When I went there, I saw the fisherfolk and the people on the beach because there's a barracks there, fisherman barracks.
Sorry, Dr. Williams, hold for me. Let me just.
Truth has to be spoken to justice.
October 16, 1995, under the leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, over 1 million men and women marched on Washington in the historic Million Man March. October 19, 2014, 19 years later, leader of the Nation of Islam, Minister Louis Farrakhan delivers the 19th anniversary Million Man March keynote address at the National Arena in Kingston, Jamaica.
We can't cover things up, give it a pretty sound to make people feel good. We have to go to the root of the problem.
Join me, Kabu Ma'atkiru, Muta Baruka, and the IRFM Outside Broadcast team for a live broadcast of the Africa Forum Running African from the 19th anniversary celebrations of the historic Million Man March, brought to you courtesy of the Nation of Islam.
Take this pledge with me.
That's a live broadcast of the Africa Forum from the National Arena, Sunday, October 19 from 6 a.m.
I will strive to love my brother as I love myself.
Inside of the Africa Forum, in the studio with us, Fisherfolks, small business operators at the Fisherman's Beach in Ochi, Member of Parliament, also Dr. Councillor for the area, Dr. Williams, in the studio with us, Dr. Rohan Williams, Councillor for the Ochi Division, giving us a background as to how the fisherfolk and the small business operators in Ochi at Fisherman's Beach were informed about the need to, or the decision taken by the authorities to have them move from the beach. You were saying, Dr. Williams, before we went into the break, that following all of this, that you actually went to the Fisherman's Beach.
Yes.
Yes, and you had a tour of
convene a meeting at once with the people after being invited to the stakeholders meeting in Kingston to try and pan out with the people what are the issues and what should I take into Kingston on their behalf. Right? I am here to support, represent the people, and that is my function. So that is my first point of order, is to meet with the people and to establish with them what are your concerns. What am I to go into Kingston to defend on behalf?
All right, so let me go back now to the president to ask, what were your concerns, or the chairman, what were your concerns? What did you ask Dr. Williams to defend you on your behalf as your representative, political representative as a councillor? Yes.
Well, firstly, Dr. Williams came on the location. He didn't organize an official meeting. He just came by. Stood a certain position, spoke to a couple of people. I'd rather if you had, call it official meeting.
Convene a meeting.
Yeah, at least more of the folks would, know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
He told us he's going into Kingston, and he came to take a peep at a certain and issues regarding what he said came up in the email.
Yes.
Well, Mr. Lawrence took him on a tour, and the bathroom facilities, he said he was satisfied, they were up to standard.
Right, you're satisfied with the bathroom facilities, Dr. Williams? Are you satisfied with the bathroom?
All right, let me backtrack, because I want this thing to be said the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately, I said I went to the beach. I tried to find out or establish in my mind whether there was any steering committee or leadership in terms of a president, treasurer, vice chairman, whatever form of leadership exists on the beach.
Yeah.
Right? At that time, I wanted the leadership.
Did you find the leadership?
Establish a meeting.
Did you find the leadership?
Well, I found a situation where...
There was no leadership?
Right. The leadership there was a bit flimsy.
All right, that sounds very strong this morning, though. Right. President, Vice President, Secretary, Chairman.
So, if I got a chance to speak to my classmate and my fellow man, Bash, Orville Grant, right? Who, in the past, was the established president, but whatever it is...
Look here now, Dr. Williams, it's because we don't have a whole lot of time.
Let's go forward.
Yes.
What I saw going on as I was traveling through and examining the facilities. There were men working. Plumbers were busily putting in faucets and toilets within the existing sanitary facility.
So are you not comfortable with that now?
Indeed, I am comfortable.
All right, okay, so that issue is off the table.
Right,
then.
the other thing was the aesthetics, how the beach looked.
Right.
And we decided that what we could do with the membership is to have a beach cleanup day on an interim.
Brilliant.
They said, my counselor, if you can provide me with a truck or two, and you can come and work with us, we can clean up the beach.
So that would take care of
and rub little paint here and there and give it a good look.
Very good. All right. You're saying no, Mr. Lawrence?
All right. He come and made that suggestion, and we embrace it, but we go ahead. It wasn't that the beach is untidy, because history, we have won 6.
No, but the cruise ship don't like to see the beach.
We have won 6 cleaning contests Jamaica-wide.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we have the title. We have the title.
Why didn't you carry the trophies?
They are in the locker. We can get them started, but we didn't know that it was going to be this kind of issue that we provide evidence.
Right.
We have won 6 trophies back to back for the best cleaning beach in Jamaica.
Yeah. And look here, can I check up with my father? My stomach is sick, and I eat at Fisherman Beach all the time.
That's it.
I cannot eat at a dirty place.
That's it.
And I eat it all the time. So I want to go to Reverend a little bit before I come back to Dr. Williams and you. Reverend Carlton Mullings, Minister for the Ochi Church of Christ. You have been listening, representing the Ministers Fraternal. These are issues, IRFM working very closely with the Ministers Fraternal in Ochi that we have been facing, not just in Ochi but across Jamaica. Listening to what you have heard here, what are your main concerns?
Serious situations. We're looking at ulterior motives. I don't think it is a matter of black and white, as the councillor has stated. Definitely we are supportive of what he has said, he has done, and so on. But knowing what came out of Little Duns River and the ulterior motives that had to be halted, or was exposed and had to be halted, we see also this as a part of that overall scheme to dislodge the little man.
Yes.
Okay? This is where we stand in protection. We are not supportive of anything that is illegal. We are not supportive of any contraband, any of that sort of thing. And as a matter of fact, if drug peddling is a part of the culture of Fisherman's Beach in Ochi, why has the police not arrested the fishermen and the people out there? And from our investigation, none of them has ever been charged in any way, shape, or form for drugs or drugs peddling. So we can't use that as a criteria to get them out of the situation.
It is used for all the beaches that go protect from people.
We stand in support of the fishermen in the fact that Fisherman's Beach is a part of Ochi's culture and history.
How long have you been in this area, Rev?
Over 40. I've been here from 1965.
What can you tell us about what you know about? That's before me born, literally.
Right.
Not quite, but almost. So, tell me a little bit about what you know about Fisherman's Beach.
I saw Fisherman's Beach moving from down the point of Duns River on James Avenue, to the present location.
Right.
I've seen that. I have been here.
Wasn't it the government? And I'm talking now as somebody who has been covering this area long time. Wasn't it the government who moved the fishermen from one area? If not government, some authority that moved people from one area to the next area.
I don't know if I can speak on that.
All right.
What I do know is that I observed the move.
Yes.
From one point to the other.
From Turtle in that area. Mr. Lawrence, tell us about that move. Who moved? Who moved now? Mr. Wrigglebeard?
Yes, all these area that fishermen occupied before was private place.
Yes.
So these private place, the owner of them now decided to do business.
Right.
So they say, fisherman, your time is up.
So Mr. Wrigglebeard made that land available.
Take it in consideration. Now, say fishermen have been bouncing around and they are the major imperative of this town. So,
all right. Put it back to Rev. All right. So Rev, what will the minister's fraternal? What's your next step?
Well, we're watching things. We as I said before, we see ulterior motives. We're watching that. We believe that the fishermen ought not to be removed.
For the refurbishing, for the renovation, for the cleaning up, for the painting.
Yes, we believe in the aesthetics of the thing being improved.
Yes.
Order is order.
Right.
Beauty is attractive.
Yes.
And a pleasant environment in which to do business benefits both the entrepreneurs and the customers alike.
But the minister's fraternal contention is the fishermen, the fisherfolk, the small business operators do not have to be removed physically for that to be done.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Right. How do you respond to that, Dr. Williams?
I want to, arising out of the meeting, right? There's another stakeholders meeting which is scheduled for this month of October, after which these issues, because a lot of things were placed on the board. One of them initially, right, because the ship is demanding these things to be put in place, or else, because Carnival, which is our last remaining major cruise line, right, has already shifted two of their major ships into Falmouth. And to my understanding, they are threatening to pull out altogether. Now, the shipping schedules are done like 4 or 5 years in advance. So what they said is if we should miss the boat and not meet up to their regulations and their demands, if a schedule is made without watchers, we'll be in the dark without cruise shipping for 4 or 5 years.
We have access to Carnival Cruise. We can call them and do some interviews with them, and we'll ask them, are you moving out of Ochi because of Fisherman's Beach? And is Fisherman's Beach so dirty that you cannot move into Ochi? And do you know that you're depriving hundreds of people of their livelihoods when you make a statement like that? Yes. And we make sure so that reach BBC and CNN, because that's a joke. We've never heard anything like that. The Member of Parliament for North East St. Anne has joined us in the studio. Finish your statement, Doctor.
Welcome, MP. The suggestion was made that we should therefore, or the stakeholders, the Ports Authority of Jamaica, the UDC, right? Their intent therefore was to move as quickly as possible to have this beach renovated, right? And they were intent on commencing this redevelopment by the end of November. They wanted to start by the end of November. And the political directorate who attended this meeting and who were there in attendance, we made a suggestion that we don't think it is humane at this time for that type of intervention to be made, particularly surrounding the Christmas period, and especially during the season, which is the best time for the people.
So you and MP Robinson had to point that out to the UDC and the Minister Omar Davies.
Well, as I said,
you cannot kick fishermen off the beach.
Who have been elected by the people.
I'm asking the question. Minister Omar Davies, friend to the program, friend to Running African, I am shocked that that had to be pointed out to you, that you can't move people out of them livelihood, not just one about Christmas, but any other time. MP Shaheen Robinson, Member of Parliament for North East St. Anne.
Once the point was raised, everyone was unanimous in that stakeholders meeting, that indeed.
Yes, once the point was raised.
We have to move to a better. That was unacceptable.
Shaheen, thank you so much for joining us. I know you come to talk about a whole different topic, but thanks for coming in early and helping to shed some light on this. What can you tell us about this? Where do you stand on this?
About 3 weeks ago, I was approached in Parliament by Dr. Davies, who said he wanted to speak to me about the Fisherman's Beach, and that the UDC wanted to close it down, but they were they were afraid of me, that I would have resisted it. I said to him that it would be foolhardy of me to resist anything that would enhance whatever we have to offer in Ocho Rios. But what they have to be mindful of with me is the timing that they want to do it, considering that all these people earn a living from the sea in one way or the other, and that we couldn't just come there and just board up the place or zinc it up and say that we're going to do some construction here. Whatever we do, consultation with the local people is important. And that's why we don't have buy-ins in Ocho Rios, and we always have conflicts and people. I seem to be confrontational, but it is because I stand on the side of the people, because I understand that this is how these people earn a living. And for us to just come there, or some government agency, not us, not myself or Dr. Williams, to just come there and arbitrarily close the place because UDC has said something or because SDC has done something is unacceptable. What was point? If I went to a meeting, the first meeting that I went to, all the stakeholders were not there, and I expressed my concern to Dr. Davies that we ought to have a broader representation of the people.
Dr. Davies' portfolio is a UDC?
No. Transport and work.
So why was authority falls
the Port Authority?
Under him. And Professor Shirley was at that first meeting, and he expressed his concerns that the Carnival, as Dr. Williams said a while ago, the Carnival Breeze, the largest vessel, would be pulling out, and more might want to pull out.
But let me ask you this, because
harassment at the Fisherman's Beach. I pointed it out to him that the people of Ocho Rios, the indigenous Ocho Rios people, are not the harassers.
Let me ask, stop a minute, Minister Robinson. Somebody said that Carnival, one of the largest cruises, we used to go down there and broadcast from it live, the Jamaica Corner and so on. Carnival is pulling out of Ocho Rios because of harassment on Fisherman's Beach?
It cannot be.
It's a lie.
It cannot be Fisherman's Beach.
It's a lie.
It cannot be Fisherman's Beach.
It is the wickedest lie that has been told against the people of Fisherman's Beach. And they must apologize.
It cannot be Fisherman's Beach. I don't know that Carnival has said that,
They have to be careful, Shaheen. Let me tell you why they have to be careful.
I don't know that Carnival has said that, though,
You know why they have to be careful? Let me finish this. You know why they have to...
Authority.
No, let me finish. No, this is not funny when we stand on the side. We don't say we stand on the side of the people. We stand for the people. Hang on, Dr. Williams. This is not funny. My point is, Carnival is tourism them deal with. They carry bodies of people into the Caribbean. Do you know that this information that's going out, it's on the web, it's everywhere. Carnival is going to have to respond to this, whether in the local media or the international media, right? We will ensure them respond to it in international media. Right? And face it. And you know what's going to happen with Carnival? They're going to lose people. I'm telling you that. Because you can start a change.org petition. You can start a conversation in international media that have to force Carnival to say, we did not say so. And that is why the politicians must be careful.
Let us be careful. Carnival has not said that to me, I'm only saying, relaying to you secondhand what was said in the meeting, that because of the harassment. But I would go on to say that...
MP, in the meeting...
20 minutes after 8 o'clock.
In the meeting, it was not said the ships are pulling out because of harassment from the Fisherman Beach. It was said the ship is pulling out because of the general harassment within Ocho Rios.
Okay.
And also the aesthetics of the town, the place, some of the parts don't look good.
But let me ask you, MP, do you have to move the fishermen, the shop owners, the small business operators from the area to renovate the area?
Well, I'm not a technical person, but I suspect that it could be done in stages.
Right.
However, they don't seem, the UDC doesn't seem open to that. And they had some concept drawing already that maybe would exclude these people if it were to go ahead. So in the meeting, a concern was voiced that they would have to redo some of the shops because what they had was some modular drawing that they could easily convert.
You can draw that over. We have architect can draw that free for them.
Too.
No, you architect can draw free.
Yeah, but what we have to understand too is that the government procurement process is a long process, and we were concerned that this place would be closed down in January. It is a concern that I expressed and other members expressed, that it would be closed down. You would see it, zinced up or boarded up, whatever they use to lock it off.
Yes.
While technocrats make drawings, procurement is done, and then we, as the political directorate, because the buck stopped with us, we would have to explain to the people why they have been disenfranchised while government takes their time to put these things through the motion.
And let me answer another question.
Coming here, I heard about 9 months. I am very skeptical that anything will come to completion in 9 months.
So it was supposed to be longer than 9 months. So let me answer another question. If after that 9 months, all right, the thing is that 9 months, I say, the minister is saying she's skeptical about the 9 months. It usually lasts longer, it's true. The business people here are telling us that after all of that is finished, then they're going to be, it's not an automatic return, but that the shops now will be rented.
Before we leave the issue of the 9 months, to be fair to all the stakeholders who are there, right? When the UDC would be the main developers, we're going to carry out the work on the ground to reconstruct the Fisherman Beach. Now, when they were questioned in that meeting, right, by the other stakeholders as to what is the time frame, right, the UDC tentatively suggested 9 months. However, all the other stakeholders were looking on it and saying, well, this is too long, right? We don't need to have this displacement of the people for 9 months. Therefore, that is something which is under review,
but
and a meeting will be held within this month of October with the Ports Authority and the UDC.
But from your experience, Dr. Williams,
from my experience, I am skeptical about 9 months.
It's more than 9 months, isn't it?
It is going to take more than 9 months.
Not less than,
as government goes through all the processes.
And I want the question answered, Minister Robinson, which is, we are told that even with the 9 months, that you don't automatically return. You are now going to be rented.
Absolutely.
A space.
Absolutely.
But that is untenable.
And that is the question I asked in the first meeting. Is this a project to fix up the place to accommodate the people who have been there, or is it a plan to fix it up for private investors and other persons to come in? Will the people of Ochios be excluded because of high rental and their inability to pay? We have to ask those questions. Those are. I want to put it on the table. I'm not against the development there.
No.
I support it, and anything that will enhance the quality of the lives of the people that I represent. I support.
We love to see our Ochi develop.
Exactly,
we want Ochi develop and develop the people out of Ochi.
But we don't want it develop and leave the people behind, because that is what has happened every time.
Fairness is done.
Yes,
true. I want it also to be known and to be said that prior to the UDC starting to make that step or that intervention, the Social Development Commission, the SDC, was sent in prior to all of this to do an audit on the beach to ascertain how many fisherfolks as opposed to how many business people occupy the beach. Arising out of that, it was said there are 47 fisherfolk on the beach along with 26 shops. The initial proposal of the UDC is to construct 26 shops.
All right. We have just 5 minutes left in this segment. Can I just, quite a few people here, and I want everybody just come to the mic, give a name, and tell government what you want them to know. Just say what it is that your concern is. Quickly, grab the mic, say what your name is, and speak directly to Minister Omar Davies. Tell him what your main concern is. Go ahead, my brother.
Yes, my name is Noel Lawrence. A citizen of Ochios.
Yes.
And it have been said that we are squatters, said by UDC. Fishermen are squatters. And when they find out the history, they say they want to, in collaboration, work with fishermen.
What do you want Mr. Omar Davies to do?
Leave fishermen alone, because it have been...
Next person. Mr. Omar Davies, leave fishermen alone. Say your name,
Mama. My name is El Torres Geddes. I'm a fisherfolks. I'm a fisherwoman from Ochios.
How old are you?
I am 64.
Go ahead and tell Mr. Omar Davies.
Mr. Omar Davies, as a minister, I'm asking you, sir, please to leave us alone. It's our livelihood.
Next person. Come here now. You my sister Marjorie. Marjorie, say your piece already. Quick. Time running out. Because, yes.
Good morning again. I'm Marjorie Campbell.
Yes.
And I would like to say to Mr. Omar Davis, please to leave Fisherfolks alone. If you refurbish, don't charge us any rent.
Right. And somebody please talk to the UDC too, because I'm not UDC. KD Knight. Somebody talk to Mr. KD Knight. Yes, go ahead, my sister. What's your name?
Good morning. I'm Juliet Taylor, Mr. Omar Davis.
And Mr. KD Knight.
Mr. KD Knight, leave Fisherfolks. This is what's cool our kids, feed our family, and take care of our livelihood.
Quickly, next person quickly, because we might not get everybody. Come quick.
Good morning. I'm Patrick Foreman, fisherman all my life.
Yes, talk to Mr. Davies, quick.
And one thing I would like them to know that if the beach is like a factory, they employ a lot of people. And
thank you, my brother. Leave fisherman alone.
My name is Dave Roberts, and I'm on the beach for over 40 years, and I'm asking Mr. Omar Davis to please leave us alone, and Mr. KD Knight, please leave us alone.
Anybody else?
Hello, good morning. I'm Olive Byfield from the Fisherman Beach. Mr. KD Knight and Mr. Omar Davis, please leave it to renovate ourselves, please.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Roy Williams, Fliego. I'm telling Mr. Omar Davis and the PMP party in a whole that they must start to do good
How old are you, my brother?
74.
All right. Anybody else to the microphone quickly before we get... Yes.
I'm Chris Lowe, the Vice President, and all I'm asking for is fairness.
Who are you asking? Mr. Chris Lowe.
I'm David. And also Mr. Davis to leave the fisherman alone.
All right. Okay. Minister?
Yes.
The other minister, the Reverend Minister. Yes, go ahead, Minister. Yes, Reverend.
I would like to say on behalf of the church, the fraternal, that we would like to be involved in any dialogue and in any decision making with regards to that. We want to be a part of that. We also want to make them aware of the fact that the church stands in solidarity with the development of ochies in a proper way and the protection of the rights of those who have been there for history.
Thank you very much. Thank you all. Minister Shiny Robinson, you're staying with us? All right, great. Okay, so Minister Shiny Robinson will be with us. She's here for another reason altogether to talk about the Roaring River lands. In a minute, it will be time for the super lot, for the top draw dollars, pick 2, pick 3, pick 4, and cash pot, early birds. Minister Robinson, since you're here, let us just use a few minutes to the news to kind of look at what has been happening with the lands at Roaring River. We don't have a lot of information apart from what I saw in the newspapers that that China has now sent a proposal to government to claim lands at Roaring River. Your constituency minister, what can you tell us about this claim on Roaring River lands?
Okay, I have really been kept out of the loop myself, and it's only what I have heard coming out of the PAC committee meetings and, just by asking questions here and there. What I understand is that China Harbour, they're not being paid by the government to build this highway, the piece that they're currently doing and the piece that was finished. So I think the government entered into some arrangement with them to develop new towns or economic zones in areas along the highway, and they have given them the land. The equity from the government must be the land. How much of that land has been given and where exactly, which sections of the Roaring River land have been given, I'm not too sure. I called the general manager of UDC to ask him, because those lands fall under UDC, and he said that he was going into a meeting coincidentally at the same time that I called to discuss that same Roaring River matter, those lands. He said at the time, and that was Thursday or Friday, 2 days ago, that the section where the Great House is, those sections would be, he was sure, and that the government was trying to hold on to the beach side of the property. Whether this is true or not, I don't know, because
it says in the newspaper article, it says north and south of the highway. So it would mean on both sides.
That was my understanding. A couple months ago, some businessmen who walk on some section of the beach in that area, in the mornings for exercise, called me to say that they were shocked because they were walking one morning and they met upon some Chinese people, must be from China Harbour. They thought that they must have been from China Harbour, who were saying that they very soon they wouldn't be able to use the beach because they had acquired it. Whether this is so or not, I don't know. As a member of parliament, they have not called me to a meeting to discuss it. We know that there are big informal settlements at Roaring River.
Yes.
So when I spoke to Mike Henry, who had responsibility for transport and works in the former government, he said that that he had entered into some discussions with China Harbour and that factories were supposed to be built, economic zones, and the people who live in the area would be the first beneficiaries of whatever economic development took place there, and that if persons were to be relocated, which is the most important thing, where they live, they would have to be relocated to areas and to circumstances that would be much better than where they were moving.
Right, we were scheduled to speak with Mike Henry, but I'm wondering did he go to the reparations conference in Antigua?
He did.
Well, he probably traveling.
He's traveling.
Right. All right. So because he was scheduled to be on, but we'll talk to him when he gets back. So two things there. One, do you realize that you have been talking using the saying given as opposed to proposed?
Yes.
Just listening to you, I'm getting from you. Yeah.
I feel that way too. I feel that way because of just being in the constituency and from seeing certain activities. And we have to be very mindful of all these lands that we, whatever we do, whether we give, trade, whatever it is. Because
but Minister
the watershed areas.
I'm sorry to interrupt even when we're just a few minutes from the news, but I need to get this to sink in, and I don't know if the listeners are getting it. You're the member of parliament, have been for a while. You're very, very involved in Ochi long before you entered politics. We know that, so you know what's happening in Ochi, and you are saying to us that you believe that this deal is a done deal already. The Roaring River lands has already been given to China?
Well, it's what came out of the PAC meeting the other day would suggest that this is so. And, I hope that the government is mindful of what they're doing. I hope the environmental agency is doing their work, because for a couple of weeks now we have been having water problems in Steertown. And the main problem that we have had there is turbidity. And we don't have to ask why the water is brown, because they're bulldozing as we speak to make the highway. And when you bulldoze on those hillsides, when the rain fall, you don't have to go up there to see what happens.
We heard last week from Mr. Fernandez that it's a major limestone plateau.
It is.
And that anything that happens there will ultimately disturb the water.
Absolutely.
So what are we to think now? Because I started a petition to the Prime Minister of Jamaica.
Yeah, I know.
Please don't give this land to China. Rethink this. But from what I'm hearing from you now, it's almost like it's done. They already have it.
I want to think that is so.
And it's a good point, China, because what is the security guards doing up there?
There was supposed to be wardens of the land. I don't know. I supposed to stop Jamaican people from, informal settlers from going on the land. I don't know if that is what it is. I was accused recently in the papers of putting on people. The letter said, I haven't read it. I heard that it said that as we speak, the member of parliament is putting it. I mean, that is, it doesn't even warrant a response, quite frankly.
No. But some of us need to go camp out up there. It would appear to me. Security guard or no security guard?
Right. We need to get answers and
occupy Roaring River.
I'm hoping that Mr. Desmond Malcolm, who is the general manager of the UDC, who is a very reasonable person. I expect that in short order he'll be calling myself and the parish council representatives in to explain to us, to give us an update as to what is happening and what to expect and what to tell the people. You see, this is a problem we have. We're not consulting with the local people, and that's why we have the problems.
You see, my producer running in here says Mr. Dennis Malcolm just called.
Desmond Malcolm.
Desmond Malcolm that you just called. He got disconnected. Could you call back Mr. Malcolm, but do that at 9, because we're going into news in 2 minutes to talk to us about these lands. Minister Robinson, when we called the Mr. Ivan Anderson, We'd asked him to come on last week, and we asked him to come on this week again. Well, for both times he said no, because as it is now, it's just a proposition. It is not a done deal. As it is now, it's just a proposal. But you're saying from what happened with the PAC meeting recently, and from what you see, and from the activities you see happening there, your thinking is that it's a done deal.
I think so, because when I called to speak to Mr. Malcolm, and he will come on and say if it's so or not, he said that it was the lands up by the Great House, but they were trying to hold on to the beach side.
They were trying to
hold on.
But why trying?
They're trying to hold on to the beach side. So he is better able to explain it.
Yes, and that's an interesting term to say, trying.
And all right. In the absence of knowing the facts, Andrea, that's when all these rumors abound. People don't know, and they hear little snippets here and there, and it has made them very agitated.
It has made me I am agitated.
Of course.
It came out right in the middle of a chikungunya outbreak.
Yeah.
So that means we're supposed to miss it. And I'm telling you, most of Jamaica missed it. So this is exactly what was expected to be done. Minister Robinson, let me take a break with you here, because you're gonna come back at 9. I know you're gonna church service for Heritage Week, right? But she's gonna come back, and in that segment we'll hear more from her, and then we'll also hear hopefully Mr. Desmond Malcolm will call us back. But we are concerned. We've been saying for the last, it's about 5 years, Shahini, we've been saying the Angola model is what China is using. And one of the things that we have said, to understand China in Jamaica, you have to understand China in Africa. I'm going to, hopefully I'll get some chance later on to talk about China in Jamaica. China in Africa, and especially about the Angola model. I want to go through the Angola model again. It's very, very important that I do so, because I had asked then, before we even saw it happening, that if this is what was going to happen in Jamaica, and if this is what's going to happen, then we need to learn from the mistakes made by Africa. We are making worse mistake, worse than Africa.
This is news from IRI FM, Jamaica's non-aligned news voice.
Good morning, I am Nikita Sterling with the local and international headlines. Minister of Health, Dr. Fenton Ferguson, says efforts to clean up communities and destroy mosquito breeding sites should be ongoing all year round. Dr. Ferguson was speaking during yesterday's cleanup activity in select communities in St. Thomas in a bid to tackle the spread of the chikungunya virus. St. Thomas is one of several parishes which have seen large numbers of people experiencing symptoms of the chikungunya virus. According to the minister, the idea is to demonstrate the government's commitment while motivating citizens to take their responsibility seriously with respect to the reduction of the spread of vector-borne diseases, including chickV and dengue. 20 rounds of ammunition and a large quantity of ganja were seized in the Hart Street area of St. James yesterday. No one was arrested in connection with the seizure. Reports are that about 6 a.m., a police team carried out a raid in the Hart Street community in search of a wanted man. During the operation, several houses were searched. 20 12-gauge cartridges and a large quantity of ganja were seized. In news overseas, a preliminary test shows a Texas health worker who treated Ebola victim Thomas Duncan before he died is also infected with the virus. Texas Healthcare Services said in a statement the health worker reported a low-grade fever on Friday and was isolated and referred for testing. The health worker has not been named. Mr. Duncan, who caught the virus in his native Liberia, died at a Dallas hospital last Wednesday. The current outbreak, concentrated in Liberia, Guinea, and Sierra Leone, has resulted in more than 8,300 confirmed and suspected cases and at least 4,033 deaths. Finally, Cyclone Hudhud is pounding the eastern Indian coast, causing extensive damage and prompting the evacuation of some 350,000 people. At least 6 people have been killed. The cyclone, classed very severe, brought winds of 127 miles per hour as it passed over the coast. The winds and heavy rains have brought down trees and power lines and damaged crops. Those were the local and international headlines. News next at 11:45. You can go online to irfm.net to view some of the stories. Like us on facebook.com/irfm news. Follow us on Twitter at irfm_news. From the IRFM newsroom, I'm Nikita Sterling.
A fence goes up around a beach property in Jamaica. Every single day, a fence goes up, keeping us out. So we have an issue with access to the beach. And I know that an announcement was made by Minister McNeil about developing some of the beaches, and we haven't heard anything since the announcement. We've invited him onto this program. I know he was out when we wanted him to come in. He was overseas, and the people we called at his office were very, very good about it, asked us to send us an email and so on. So we expect that he will come. We also heard from Ian Hales, remember, that he was going to be ensuring that, bills, laws, policies, something is in place to ensure that there's access to the beach. But we're talking about access to the beach, but we're also talking about equity, equality, access to land, and the extent to which we are bearing witness to a non-reversible land grab, land heist in Jamaica. It is a land heist. I promised that I would have, give to you what the World Bank says about what's happening with land in Africa, and in particular, the extent to which we see, the land heist going on, the information. But anyway, we're joined in the studio once more by Minister Shahini Robinson. We're very, very happy that she can hang on with us for a little. She's actually on her way to the Heritage Week church service. You want to tell us a little bit about that, Shahini?
Yes, it's in Bamboo, Clayground Bamboo at the Bees of Holiness Church. Pastor Sharon Davidson is the pastor there. And every year they have parish church services across the island to mark the Heroes Weekend. The Heroes Week,
yes, the entire Heritage Week.
Yeah, the entire Heritage Week. And the national church service is in Maypen this year. Okay. I always try to attend because I believe that it's important.
Yes, yes. All right, so interesting information coming out regarding the lands at Roaring River, and we are joined on the phone lines, and we're very happy that he could join us. Mr. His name is not Dennis, is it? Mr. Malcolm from the UDC. Mr. Malcolm, good morning. All right, could you turn your radio down or off, Mr. Malcolm?
Yes, morning.
Oh, good morning, good morning. All right, so I'm going to let you respond first because you initiated the call, so obviously you called because you wanted to respond to something immediately. So you want to go ahead and do that?
Yeah, well, I just want to speak to 2 issues that we covered this morning.
Yes.
One is the UDC's position and involvement in the Fisherman's Beach, Ochi.
Yes.
And also the issue relating to the Royal River lands and the Chinese and the current occupants of lands on that property.
Right, not the Chinese, but China Harbour.
Well, China Harbour.
Yes. Right, so go ahead. On the Fisherman's Beach?
Yeah, the UDC, for more than a year now, do have a development plan for that beach. UDC recognized there was some commitment made to legitimate fishermen some years ago when they were removed from one point to the next. And UDC have been trying to organize that area into a much more sanitary and user-friendly beach. So we have developed a plan. We have had consultation with the fishermen. We have had at least 2 stakeholder meetings, of which the MP for the area was aware. And it's a question now about proper finance and execution of the plan. Now, the Port Authority do have an interest in what happens there. And we have been working with the Port Authority, not only from the point of view of logistics, but in a collaborative manner, because they operate the port, and what happens over the beach does affect the shipping and the cruise line, etc. So we are at the stage now where we have been showing the plans to all the stakeholders, including PAJ. And we had a meeting, last one was a week ago, including major stakeholders, and there was a way proposed forward. And it was recognized that proper rehabilitation of the beach might involve a closing down of the beach for a period. Now, there are objections and concerns about that. But at the end of the day, there was a decision made that no disruption will happen between now and December. But there is a development plan to start sometimes, I think, beginning in March, I believe. So that's where we are with that project.
All right, so a few points coming out of that, and then I'm going to allow Minister Robinson to respond. One, let me start at the bottom. One is that you said that you use the word might in terms of whether or not persons will be removed from the beach to allow the development of the beach. Does might suggest that you have not yet decided that persons will be physically removed from the beach?
The initial relocation plan require a lot of structures that are on the beach itself. Those have to be removed.
Right, not the structures, but the people themselves. Do you is it that you have made a decision that to renovate the beach, that to do the work, the developmental work on the beach, that the people who are currently, the small business operators who are currently on the beach, will be removed physically from the beach?
Okay, let me explain. We plan a phased development, and the first thing we said that those structures, some of them are large, that are actually on the beach, on the water, those have to be relocated because the overall plan calls for a beachfront. The plan was to move structures to the rear of the facility so that there will be some kind of beach, and they will have an opportunity to have mitigation in terms of erosion.
Right, and at the point at which you're removing those structures, will you also remove people?
People, if the structures are relocated, then there will be a dislocation temporarily in terms of persons starting up the business. One or two ways. You either build a new structure for them to move into, or you tear down what is there while you build.
Right.
We are looking at the easiest way to do it in terms of the impact on the pocketbook of the operator.
All right. So the best way to do it is what?
The best way would be to rebuild in the area we want to rebuild, and then tear the structures down.
Right.
But there will be dislocations. There will be disruption of business, because that kind of reconstruction, persons are going to be affected.
Right. Can it happen? I know that initially, and I heard Minister Robinson say this just now, that the initial suggestion that this would have been done in phases. The fishermen are also saying that you do section, and one section here, another section, and then that would facilitate a continuous occupation of the area by people who are initially there. As a result, as opposed to removing everybody, zinking it around, do your renovation, and then build new structures and then rent it back to persons who can afford it.
Well, the best approach would be for us to do it in phases. However, I want to remind you that not everyone that is operating on the beach now are what we consider legitimate in terms of the criteria. The criteria is that persons who are fishermen, who are counted, etc., and then you have the associated businesses. Right. We want to accommodate as many people as possible, but we
I can tell you this. I can tell you these are the people who are here this morning. The people who are in the studio this morning, those are the people. They are in the number, the counted number. Yes.
Look, just let me advise you. We're looking at nearly 170 people that are affected. So I don't know if you have 170 people.
No. I'm the representative. I'm saying they have formed themselves into a representative group. And so the representative of that we had about 15 of them in the studio. Yes.
I know about that. I think maybe you should allow me because I am familiar with what has become. UDC has been working with this community to regularize it for a very long time. We know what we're doing. The Fisherfolks know that we have been working with them. And
but Mr. Malcolm, I'm sure you heard their concern, which is that while they are being moved off the beach, there's nothing in place for relocation. First of all, so they'll be off while this development takes place, and so they're out of a business. Their livelihood literally quashed. Not only that, they have a second concern. The second concern is once you have done the development on the beach, the idea that they are getting from wherever they're getting it is that when they return, they have to pay rent for these structures, and they are making a counterpoint, which is charge us some money up front to help to upgrade these structures and put us back in them, but not to have us pay monthly rents, which most of us fear that we probably won't even be able to afford.
I tell you why we have to pay monthly rent. There will be costs relating to electricity, sewage disposal, etc. There's also costs relating to actually mitigating the beach, prevent erosion. So there have to be costs. If people are operating an enterprise, there has to be a cost. And nobody's going to pick that up. No, but UDC cannot pick that up. UDC will put some money in terms of technical support, etc., and some financing. The TF is committed to assist. Yeah. But at the end of the day, this is going to be an ongoing business. Right. And persons will have to pay something.
I think their fear is that
something is going to be reasonable.
Right, I think that is their fear. I think their fear is that it's going to be priced out of their reach. So that's why the consultation is important. But let me give Minister Robinson a chance to respond. Minister Robinson.
Morning, Desmond. It is now abundantly clear that we need that stakeholder meeting with the persons who will be affected. They need to know what will happen to them. It is not good enough for you to meet with just myself and the council and the mayor. We won't be affected. It is the people who are going to be directly impacted that we need to meet with, and meet with now as a sense of urgency. Dr. Davies suggested that meeting be arranged. He also suggested that it not be arranged by the politicians, nor be chaired by the politicians. We suggested the ministers fraternal, and I believe that we should act with haste now to get that meeting going, so that the people will not just be operating in the dark, but they will know what will take place, when, and how it will impact their lives, and how they can move on, because this is how they earn a living. This is how they send their children to school. This is how they pay their bills. I don't think anybody there expects anything for free. They're all hardworking people, and they're reasonable people, and I believe that once we engage them and they understand what their input or their costs will be, I'm sure that they will stand up and meet whatever it is. But they just don't want to hear it coming from all different sources. It is very vague, it is very nebulous, and we need to clear the air.
There's an atmosphere of uncertainty among the people there. I mean, I went down there and I was getting, many different stories, but one thing I was getting was the uncertainty and how it was causing stress among these people on top of stress. So I agree with that. But I'm also still very concerned about, the decision that is being made to remove people en bloc while you renovate. I think that you can put up a sign and say, excuse me while we renovate, but still you have like a business going on. So that I think that once, and I'm going to be fair and frank, Mr. Malcolm, that I do believe that once these people are moved off the beach, 9 months, 18 months, don't matter, they will not be returning, not because they don't want to, but one, they are priced out, two, they are given third preference or fourth preference and not first. And really and truly what the plan is to remove these people totally and privatize that area, putting somebody else there to match a China development in the area.
No, that is not UDC's plan. And just to they mentioned to MP, yes, we will be getting a meeting together with the persons that named as soon as possible. And I can tell you that it's going to be before the end of this November. We're going to have one very, very soon. Now, trust me that we have no intention to push persons off the property who has some kind of understanding and rights there. All I'm saying, however, that we want to develop the beach to be able to compete and fit in with what is desired for Ochi. I think you saw what has happened to Turtle River Park. We want to really upgrade it. I don't like the idea sometimes of going down there, and this area that I know a lot of poor people are struggling to earn a living, that persons are casting aspiration. Everybody's pointing to that area. UDC want to clean it up so that it can stand out, and when the ships come in, they'll be saying, what is that place over there? That is what UDC want to do.
Yes. You know, I hear this all the time. I travel the world and I've gone on a lot of cruises. I cruise the River Nile, I cruise the River this, and I cruise the River that. Yes. And I've been on many, and I've traveled the world till I don't even feel like traveling no more. And, you know, whenever I'm on a cruise ship and the ship coming into the port, you know, especially when I go to Egypt, you know, one of the things that the people on the River Nile cruise like is they keep asking for it. It's not so much the island of Philae and the temple of that and the temple of that. It's when they see the little person by the riverside I wash and you know, in the old time way, you know, you want to see what is happening. You want to see the people. You know, you don't want necessarily to see the tourist structure that you set up for me for coming in. And anytime you say we're passing these people, doing them daily, sure, this is when people say, oh my God, and pictures and cameras come out and so I cannot buy into this thing that the cruise ship, which have no eyes, telling people that is a problem over there. So I think there's another problem, and it's good to fix the beach, but so don't blame it on the cruise ship. And I guarantee anybody, and I'm going to call Carnival to find out why it is that I'm harassing the natives when I'm harassing the people of Jamaica, because that is harassment.
But you know, Desmond, just a question: has the UDC looked at what currently obtains at any of these other fishing beaches or beaches that have been, you know, set aside for fisher folk? You know, and what are the arrangements as it relates to tenancy and that sort of thing, so that we could be very, very clear as we move forward. You know, when we look at a development like Little Ochi, that's a perfect example of what could happen at Fisherman's Beach, you know, without getting too modern or, you know what I mean, keeping it rustic. Real, keeping it rustic, keeping it Jamaican.
Okay, I agree, but one of the biggest problems over there is the whole business of waste disposal. And right now, where we are now, you know that we have to be very careful. Yes. That is something major that has to be developed. Yes. And right now, some of the buildings are right there on top of where we have to have the sewage collection system. So there has to be some relocation.
That is
there's another issue there that we have to be careful of. Our survey indicates that there are 3 groups of operators there. There are 3 groups. Where we find that there is activities going on there that does not help the fisher folks or what we're trying to do, it has to be rooted out. That is a concern.
And it's a concern right across Ochi and right across Jamaica. But let me ask you a question. Can you guarantee, can you say to the fishermen, can you guarantee that those who are removed from the beach will return to the beach, will return to their businesses?
We have a list of the names of the fishermen. We have a list of the names of the operators there. They are aware that we have the list. There will be, those persons will be allowed to return. However, they will be provided with upgraded facility, rustic, yes, but it's going to be upgraded. But there will be some kind of cost. They're prepared to pay. Of course, it has to be reasonable.
All right.
We promise that.
All right, let me ask one more question. Can you also say to the fishermen who are listening, some of them are still here, and the small business operators on Fisherman's Beach, that in terms of the consultation, that everything will be on the table? The idea of doing this in phases, of not relocating, is not thrown out, but will be discussed once the consultations are underway.
We will be very, very open. We're hoping that we can carry out the redevelopment without wide-scale dislocation. I am saying that there might be that one or two persons might be affected as we go along, but we are going to minimize this wide-scale relocation. We don't necessarily deal that right now. We have to shut it down. But we're going to work to ensure.
But you're saying two different things there, Mr. Malcolm. You're saying that you're very open, but then you say we have to shut it down. These are two different things.
That's not what I'm saying.
Yes.
I am saying that we believe that we can rebuild a desirable facility with minor relocation. Dislocation.
With minor
meaning that persons, the business might be affected, but not for very long. We intend to minimize how long the business will be affected.
Well,
the day-to-day operation.
We'll be monitoring that. We reach a place of Ponza Sinorum now, so we have to move on. Let me just ask a little bit now about the Roaring River lands. Minister Shani Robinson is of the view, and just listening to her, somebody who's hands-on in Ochi, the way she is in the area in St. Anne, that this might already been a done deal in terms of China Harbour propositioning the government for lands at Roaring River. What can you tell us about that?
There is some kind of implementation agreement. I'm not a lawyer with a company called Jamaica North-South Highway Company. I believe it might be attached to the same China Harbour. But what it speaks to, lands being available along this north-south corridor, meaning the highway from Caymanas into Ochi. Lands available along the corridor. And it speaks to 5 square kilometers of land, It's quite a lot of land, but what it means is that
5 square kilometers? How much acre?
I don't have the conversion here now, but it's just not Somebody
please convert that and text me, because I don't have a clue. 5 kilometers from where to where? From Ochi to where?
Yeah. That's 2 kilometers by 2.5.
From Dutch River to St. Anne's Bay is how much?
8, I think.
Hello?
No, that is the whole of the Roaring River land, Mr. Malcolm.
No, please, just hear me out. I am saying the land, government land, along the corridor, meaning from Caymanas in Kingston, all the way to Ochi.
Yes.
It does not mean the Roaring River lands only. All lands. We have, UDC have lands in Caymanas. Government have lands in Litford. What it means is that all government-owned lands in proximity, and it does not have to. You have a long stretch of land, all the way from there to there.
We understand, and but what we want to get to know is that, all right, so that is in the document. That is classic Angola model, which is a model used by China in every single country on the continent of Africa. We're very familiar with it. All right, so and our listeners are very familiar with it because we've been talking about it in private.
Let's go forward though before we
No. So what I want to ask you now, all right, so they can choose any land from Caymanas all the way back to?
No, I don't say it, sir. I don't think they can choose. Remember, UDC has a board of directors. They have some say. And then there are other agencies of government. I don't see that UDC have to give up its land. What it speaks to is government land.
Yes.
And UDC is not the only government land in this country.
Yes.
And we have the smallest portion, really. You have all kind of government lands.
Right.
So it does not have to be UDC land.
Right. We know.
However, the document speaks to development of the lands, and it involves commercial development, housing, etc. So I think rather than us saying necessarily it's a bad deal, maybe it's time for us to examine what impact is. If someone is going to come and develop lands and end up with hotels and business generation, etc.
Yeah, but let me interrupt you a minute, because that's what we're looking at, the impact. Last week we had Mr. Basil Fernandez from the Water Resources Authority, and he helped us to understand a great deal about the Roaring River lands and the Roaring River watershed area and what development might do to that area, especially if it is not done in an eco-friendly way and a way to ensure that the watershed is preserved, etc. There were many concerns that came out of that, so we did that. We are doing our due diligence.
Let me say this though.
Yes.
The agreement speaks to any development has to be approved by the local regulatory authority. Meaning, so if the land is not suitable for and cannot get acceptance from these local, it won't happen.
Yeah. The development of the land.
The development of any land has to comply and get approval by local and regulatory authorities.
Right, you're one step ahead of us, Mr. Malcolm. We're still trying to find out if China Harbour already has a land.
I don't see it that way.
What do you mean by I don't see it that way? It's either yes or no.
No, because I explained that it's lands along the corridor from Caymanas all the way to Ochi, and I'm saying that first of all, UDC is not the only owners of land. There's several government lands along the corridor.
Sorry, Desmond, but in St. Anne Northeast, UDC is the biggest landowner, and all the lands from Davistown coming north to Steertown, to Jacks Hall, all those lands are owned. Most of those lands, most of it is owned by the UDC.
So the Roaring River lands then would be owned by the UDC?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Malcolm, can I ask you a question, sir?
Yeah.
Are you trying to confuse me because you cannot convince me?
I'm saying that UDC owns lands, thousands of acres of land in Caymanas.
Yes.
I'm saying that government owns thousands of acres of land in Litford. There are several government-owned lands, and you also have to decide what do you mean by proximity. If you have a highway like that, is St. Mary in proximity to this highway? Is Falmouth in proximity? So I think it does not have to be UDC land.
Right, okay. Stick up in.
It's going to ensure that it protects.
I understand all of that, but you know what we're trying to get from you, Mr. Malcolm? All right, so the Roaring River lands are lands owned by the UDC.
Yeah.
The proposal that is in front of the minister, in front of the UDC, whoever the proposal was sent to in terms of China Harbour, the proposal is for lands running north and south of a highway at Roaring River, next door to Dunn's River. What we are trying to ask for you about is, do you know Minister Robinson feels, gets the impression that this deal is a done deal. China Harbour already owns or already has been given the Roaring River lands, whatever portion of it. Can you tell us, these are UDC lands, can you tell us if China Harbour currently owns the portions or all of the Roaring River lands?
I can say that China Harbour owns none of UDC land as I speak.
Does China Harbour have any proposed development for the Roaring River land?
There is a proposed development, but I said that any decision with respect to disposal of UDC lands has to be approved by the board and has to go all the way up.
So China Harbour has a proposal on the table now for development at Roaring River. Can you tell us what this development would include?
It includes, I call it, it will include development, commercial housing of lands in Roaring River.
Commercial housing. What that mean?
Commercial development and housing.
Oh, commercial and housing.
Resort type stuff. I've seen something also where they have a special area for persons with disabilities.
Is that building a town then? Building a town in that area?
I have seen something on paper. I have seen that from several developers who have come to UDC to say this is their development plan. We have seen China Harbour just one of many that we see from time to time.
And that proposal has not been, as far as you know, that request, the proposal has been submitted, but nothing has been signed off on.
Nothing has been signed. It has just been submitted to the general manager. After that, I have to go through my subcommittee, my board, and all the way up.
So where is it now?
It is just with me now, and I'm going to make a submission to my board shortly.
Okay, you're bound by the law to do that?
No, I don't know. I'm treating this just as a normal divestment. Somebody wants an interest in UDC's development.
What is your major concern in terms of the watershed at Roaring River?
Any development at all, be it by the Japanese, Chinese, Englishman, it has to conform to the concern of the environmental community, the local government. It has to conform.
What about the informal settlement at Roaring River?
The informal settlement, there was one there before China Harbour, before East-West Highway, North-South Highway.
Yeah.
The latest is that the Ministry of Housing has an interest in coming back to formalize that settlement there. The area designated for those settlers have been defined, and so far we expect any development at all will be within that area. Persons who have moved outside of that area will be subject to actually have to go back within the area designated.
Minister Robinson, what are your major concerns regarding...
I'm concerned that as the representative of the people that I'm hearing these things secondhand, that the UDC has not seen fit to call in myself and the local representatives, the councillors, to say that this is what we plan to do. These are the arrangements, even though they're not cast in stone at this time, as Desmond is saying. I think that it would only be right, and in order to have some transparency and that we could have answers to give these people, because people ask on a daily basis. We have no answers, and people from agencies come there and they talk to the people and they tell this person something, and in passing it along, it gets so contorted that you don't even know what's happening. And I've always said, in the absence of not knowing what are the facts, a lot of rumors abound, and these rumors cause confusion.
Are you any clearer, Minister Robinson? Because I noted your uncertainty, and not even so much uncertainty, you're almost sure that the deal is already a done deal.
Because of what was said in the PAC the other day in the committee meeting.
What was said? Can you say?
I can't say verbatim, but
an idea.
It would just translate to say that things are on track for Roaring River to be handed over to China Harbour. And I don't come here to condemn China Harbour, or any foreign investor that can come here and cause development to happen that will affect the people in a positive way. But it's just that we don't know the facts. We are ignorant of what is happening, and consultation is the way to go. In today's world, that's what we need to do. Talk to the people, communicate to them, let them know what's happening.
Mr. Malcolm?
Yeah.
The World Bank, in looking at how lands, in a document looking at Africa in particular and developing countries, generally, and how lands are being given or signed in as part of land deals with China, not just with China alone, it's happening with other nations. The World Bank says, and I quote, that it has found that governments are making deals that will tie their hands in terms of making needed policy changes for years, even decades to come. It talked about investors' right and the right of investors to export their produce. So if they plant and they have land that is flourishing and crop that is bearing, they have a right to export that to the country of origin for their own country, as opposed to feeding a nation that might need it. And it also spoke to the use of water, and they're saying that even in the face of rising water scarcity and drought, the use of water by these nations who are going into the developing countries, acquiring lands in the way that they're doing, it usually trumps the rights of government to protect their own citizens' basic needs. This is coming from the World Bank's pen. I am saying we must be concerned about some of these very same issues that the World Bank will tie our hands to through IMF and so on. That sometimes we're forced into some of these deals that they're looking on and saying, no, we are witnessing a non-reversible corporatization of land that will displace the poorest and most vulnerable citizens of developing countries.
You know, I hear you and I agree, but I'm sure we have a very active group, because I can hear the passion in your voice. I know the ministers fraternal, I know. But, you know, together I think whatever happens, if there is going to be a development in the river, I believe that we will ensure that it is done properly and in the interest of Jamaicans.
All right, we know that Mike Henry, who is traveling to Antigua, I'm sure, for the reparations conference, that the announcement that China, the proposal was on the table, the Observer had reported that Central Clarendon Member of Parliament, Mike Henry, argued that with lands made available to the Chinese to engage in developments that will drive traffic for the road, they are going to lose money if they fail to develop these economic zones. And he said, I feel very satisfied that you're moving the right direction, that is talking about the Roaring River lands, with what was in the intent of the plan. And so we really wanted to talk to Mike Henry about what was the intent of the plan and what is meant by moving in the right direction. So we hope to go there shortly. Not today, but as soon as he returns. Mr. Dennis Malcolm, Mr. Desmond Malcolm, thank you so much. You know there's a Dennis Malcolm in the entertainment industry. Thank you so much. The Liberty Hall, the legacy of Marcus Garvey, Molamu Marcus Messiah Garvey, a division of the Institute of Jamaica, in collaboration with the Nation of Islam and the University of the West Indies, National Heritage Month Celebration Committee, present from Marcus Garvey to Minister Louis Farrakhan, how Jamaica's first national hero impacted the Nation of Islam. This is Thursday, October 16, 5 to 7 p.m., 76 King Street, downtown Kingston. The moderator is Professor Rupert Lewis. Speakers include Dr. Michael Barnett and the special guest speaker from the Nation of Islam. They're asking you to come in early because there'll be limited seating. For more information, call 948-8639. That's 948-8639. And then we were asking about that 5 square kilometers of land, and my producer just told me, I don't know who check if you are, you know. It's 1,235 acres of 500 hectares. Who check it for is you? You no? All right. Who gave you this figure, John? Because I don't want to get into any trouble. All right. I know we're both challenged, mathematically speaking. All right. That's a whole lot of land. Really. All right, so we're going to open the phone lines at 974-5079-5051. Oh, is a caller checking for you? Did you get the name of the caller and the profession? And their ID? All right. 974-5079. 5051, 5043, and 1-888-991-4152. The business, small business operators from Fisherman's Beach, they're in the studio with us, and Minister Robinson was going to take a call, but well, I think she'll be back just to take a call or two. So let's go to the phone line. Hotep?
Hello.
Hotep, my brother, go ahead.
Morning, Sister Carbo. How are you?
To you too. And by the way, the word Hotep means peace, so peace to you. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. And many returns here?
Yes, give thanks.
3 things. Regarding the land thing that you speak about this morning, right?
Yes.
I think it was the same card they were trying to draw on the persons in Montego Bay, the Montego Bay Craft Market, you know. Mm-hmm. They came and said that the persons had to relocate, but what happened? The infrastructure is pretty well, you know. If you walk through the market, you'll realize that it's pretty good, and I'm talking about the one at Creek. But the thing is, the overhead view of the property it doesn't look good at all because it's covered with zinc. So if you get an overhead look at the property, it's very bad. But the inside of the infrastructure.
We have to wait on American Airlines and British Airways to say that they don't like to see it. But let me ask you a question. You're saying that the people who were there, they were relocated? Or they were taken off that land?
Well, they're actually still there, It's just that they stand up and said, they're not going to move.
Okay.
So that's what they're trying to do now. Whenever they see that something is working out good for the lower class of people, they try to come in and either tax them or have them relocate or something.
All
and
right,
it doesn't look good.
So we have quite a few of the fisher folks in the studio with us and the small business operators. Do you have any suggestion for them? What you want to say to them?
I think they need to just speak with one voice and have somebody stand for them and realize that, there is unity, there is strength.
All right.
So if you realize the government part, they are united and they are showing the strength.
All right.
So they too have to be united and show strength.
All right, thank you. So Mr. President, that's what you're doing. You're a united structure. You're a united front. Grab a microphone, because right now you're pretty united. You have your group in place, your committee in place, manager, treasurer, and president, treasurer, and so on. What do you plan to do?
Well, we started the registration process, and we're going to finish it quite soon. And with that, we'll have a lot more say, a lot more strength to do what we have to do.
All right, taking your telephone calls at 974-5079, 974-5051, 974-5043, and 1-888-991-4152. As we go back to the phone lines. Hotep?
Hotep, Cabo.
Hotep, my brother, go ahead.
Yeah, my suggestion to those folks that would be affected there on the beach is that the fisher folks need to, if they haven't done it yet, form themselves in some sort of a cooperative, working together as a team, a group, a team. And then the other traders do the same thing, and then they group beyond that, so they can represent each other's interests.
Yes. What do you think of that?
And then,
with you. Yeah, they all agree.
Whatever is done to develop it, it should be developed to depict a typical fishing village.
Yes.
Not a American view, eye view, Jamaican eye view.
Yes.
And also our area where they can exhibit what they're doing or what they have been doing in terms of the technology they use to fish. And fisherman stories. The fisherman stories.
I get your point.
So they can get visit from the visitors.
Yes.
And generate income that way.
In other words, incorporated into the tourism product.
Yeah, the product.
Yes.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Opportunity that should not be lost.
All right. Very, very good.
Yeah, but we don't want to sanitize here. We want that typical fishing village. You have to modernize the sanitary facility and all that.
Yes.
But you want a typical fishing village.
Yeah, we can modernize without westernize.
Yeah, well, we need to maintain Jamaican eyes.
That's right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Very good.
All right. What do you think about that point?
Well, yes, that's what we're thinking about. We don't need to let it look like any mall or any, We don't want actually a new design. We just want it to stay natural, stay native, stay rustic, as you guys said, because that's what the visitors want. The visitors don't want to see all this concrete and all this air condition and all of that.
Yes.
So when you go to a country, they want to see, the belly of the country, the nativeness,
the realness,
the country.
The realness. All right, let's go now back to the phone lines. Hotep? Hotep?
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. How are you?
Hi, Cabo. How you doing?
I'm well, and you?
I'm fine.
Yes.
I think the government on both sides, they're very counterproductive, and I can't understand how if the Chinese them come in Jamaica and building a highway without charging us, they're getting so much 1,000-acre land. Why is they owning the toll road for 60 years? I mean, it's either we own the toll road and pay them off for the money we collect, or get paid with so much 1,000 acres of land, you know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing, lots of questions, but lots of documents have been signed and deals have been done. I think that where we come in, though, individually and collectively, is the extent to which we stand up for something.
Exactly, because the amount of thousands of acres, there wouldn't have to be no squatters in Jamaica if so much land is there up just for USA. Why so much squatters are in Jamaica, you know what I'm saying?
Well, and then we're going to redefine squatters, but thank you very much for calling. And stand up where you are. Sign the petition. Go to my Facebook page. Sign the petition. The petition is out there. It says, Government of Jamaica, please do not give away the land at Roaring River to the Chinese, to China. It says that very clear.
I think we need to attack the social media and show these people what they really are.
That's where we are. So that's why I'm saying to you, we're on the social media. There's a petition on the social media. Go and sign it and share it. Send it to all your friends, because that's where we're starting. That's where we're starting. All right, thank you, my brother. We're starting with the social media because we know, say, the social media carried out millions into Tahrir Square in Egypt. And we know it can do it right here. Let's go back. Hotep? Hotep, my brother, go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Tafari Maki from the Jamaica Pledge Foundation. Yeah. Andrea, I just want to ask, we are coming out soon. Yeah. I would like to see if we are going to get some land, because we are here in Montego Bay, and we have a lot of young people who are willing to do farming. I'm wondering if Jamaica will give us some land to farm as well, like how they are giving to China.
That's a very good question, my brother. And, you know, there are some lands that they call crown lands in Jamaica, and we're going to redefine those and take them and redefine them. But in the meantime, maybe what your group needs to do is just do what China did. Submit a proposal in the same way, and if the minute you submit the proposal, let me know and send me a copy.
Yes, Andrea, because we are this group that take up the kids that lose their parents in crime and violence.
Yeah, you know, and send me a copy.
Yes, Andrea, because we are this group that take up the kids that lose their parents in crime and violence.
Yes.
We are the group, and we are going bigger now.
Brilliant,
after the 16 of after the 19, after the Million Man March, we are going bigger, because we want to include the youth, because they say that the youth are mashing up the country. Yes. So we, the youth, are stepping out forward now.
All right, you're doing some good work. Submit your proposal. Make sure you sit down, go through it properly. Submit your proposal to the Prime Minister, the Office of the Prime Minister. You know, you land for farming and say what you're going to farm, how you're going to acquire the crop and so on. Submit that, and then please let us know.
Okay, thanks very much, Andrea, and have a nice day.
You too. We just feel safe China can submit proposal for 1,235 acre land or 800 acre watershed, you know, that if they can we can submit to.
Yeah,
all right, so submit a proposal. Yeah, man. All right, we can take a few more calls. 974-5079, 5051, 5043, and 1-888-991-4152. In the meantime, though, how do you move from here? You heard about a cooperative. You know, you have a group now. Are you going to be organizing into a cooperative?
Before the meeting that these guys propose, we'll be ready.
All right.
We'll have a group ready and up and running.
Yes. Hello, caller Hotep.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning to you.
I'm the one who did the converter. I went on Google and typed in unit converter, and I converted.
Thank you very much. Okay, brilliant.
Next point, no, you was asking the people to sign on the petition, right?
Yes.
I went on the website that you gave.
Yes, Facebook.
But I couldn't find it. No, not the Facebook one. I want to know, you said this morning that you could sign it from
at change.org. But tell you what you do. It's easier to find it if you go to my Facebook page.
I understand that, but not everybody that I'm going to have to sign it to have a Facebook account. So I
see. Okay, so you can email it to them once you have signed. Just email it to them, and I'll send it out as emails to them.
What if they don't have any email? That's what I'm saying.
Oh, computer-wise? All right, as it is now, it is only available right now on the social media, but we'll have copies just for you to sign on the 19th at the National Arena.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
Yeah, thanks. You have a suggestion?
I think the suggestion that you gave the young man a while ago, I don't think it will come true, because I don't think the government will see him as a big investor. Right, but I don't think they will give him anyone.
No, in his proposal though, he can identify himself as an investor. You heard what he said he's doing. He belongs to a group, those who are rescuing children from crime and violence, those who are victims and survivors of crime and violence.
I think the governments are more interested in foreigners rather than local people.
Okay, all right. But
I say you should not do it, but I don't think you're going to come to.
Yeah, we can't change our mind, man.
Well, it's still that there.
Yeah, all right. Well, you never know. We can't change our mind. The thing is to do. All right, we're going to wrap up now. I know there might be a caller or two holding. If there are, we'll take them. But we're just a few minutes to go. We have to wrap up.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, morning. How are you doing?
Well, and you?
Congratulations this morning in your program. But let me tell you something what we need to start doing.
Yes.
We need to group as organization and lease the land because the Chinese are getting the land lease for 55 years. So what we need to do, people, Rasta, everybody who is interested, because we just talk, you know. We need to go in an organization, challenge the government, lease the land for 20 years, and then sublet the land into farming area, develop up where you want to develop up people. Don't just capture land and say, give us free. Challenge them and lease it from them.
It's a very good point you make. Very good point. It is one of the solutions. Thank you very much.
Because we used to have lease land in the 70s, and nobody talking about the lease land in the 70s. The lease land system constitution is still there. Yes. Nobody is prepared to take it up and renew it. It has not come off the book. It is there in the constitution, and we don't do anything about it. Everybody does capture and sit down and feel the government are going to do this. Since the government say we love capture and our land, lease it to us.
Yeah, the lands at Fisherman though is not capture land.
It's Fisherman.
I know that, but I'm saying to you.
No, I understand what you're saying, but I just want to get that out there. Thank you very much. Good point. All right.
You know, and the fishermen, I want to say to them as cooperative, big up to them. And I love what they said. They want to keep the natural and the nature. You go to Brazil, you go all over, you see the sea, you go to the fisherman co-op, you go down to the sea, you enjoy yourself. We don't need to change it in a concrete jungle.
No. Yes. Thank you, my sister. Thank you. Well said. All right. That's our last caller. You know, our first order of business on Monday is to call Carnival Cruise. We're not going to stop until we get them because we want to talk about the harassment of fishermen in Jamaica. Yeah. All right. The land, Fisherman's Point land. We heard from you, Mr. Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
4 generations
yes, ma'am.
of your 4 parents have been on that land, and you know the history in terms of Wrigley Beard and so on.
Yes,
this is not capture land.
No.
This is not UDC land.
It was given to fishermen by a personal man. And the title, we quote, not to be sold. You understand? It is supposed to be passed down generations of fishermen.
Where's the title?
I think UDC got hold on it, you know.
UDC, I don't pay taxes for it. Oh, UDC get the title.
We don't know.
They draw up a title.
No, don't say that. No, we take that back. We apologize for that. No, because that is fraud.
Yes. Selling land over the years, the title has changed.
All right, we're not hearing you too well. By selling land over the years, the title. So the land selling?
Yeah, to our neighbor, Mr. Ernest Matt. Twice we have seen parts of the land being sold. From adjoining.
Bits and pieces of the land is being sold off.
Adjoining Fisherman Beach.
Oh, really?
UDC done that. Yeah, so I think during this process they have somehow obtained a title for the rest of the property that we know.
All right, so part of our duty is also to follow the title, to see how that happens.
So you can get that information and all the information.
Access to Information Act, man, no matter how long it takes.
Right. What was it? We was talking about it yesterday. The title is on the system. You can know the folio number.
Oh, it's on the system?
Yeah.
All right. So we're on top of that. All right. All the best. All the best. Yes, go ahead.
Yes. The UDC had made an arrangement that when fishermen put themselves in the cooperative, they would give them the title. But we don't know how they come by farming a title without confront fishermen. We went to court, Ms. Andrea, and the judge made a statement, fishermen, you have to have your paper to compete against anybody who is showing documents that they have purchased the land.
Right, and you're saying the UDC have your paper of the land.
Right.
All right,
They told us so.
They told you that they have it,
Yes.
UDC?
Yes.
Did you ask them how to come by it?
No, we didn't get to ask.
All right, so in the meeting, that must come up.
Some form of espionage and over
No,
there.
don't say that. We don't. No, don't make any aspiration against the UDC when, we're not, when we don't know, right? Yes.
So I'm just asking, why they choose to call us squatters and they know that they have our diagram and our title and calling us squatters?
This is where we're going from here. We're going to check into it.
Thanks very much.
I just want the nation to know, Andrea, that this land is fisherman's land, and if they want to help us to set it up, they can. We accept their help, but when they're going to come and try to, you understand, push us off like that, we're not gonna back down.
All right.
And this is just some private pet project, you know, that these government people want to have for their retirement. You understand? And they're just trying to plague on the weak fence.
We're out of time, my brother, but look here. This is just the first. Well, you've been at this forever, so it's a continuation.
I'm expecting to hear from you again regarding this issue.
Right. Remember, yes, definitely. We're not dropping it.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. All the best now. Go with the strength of your foreparents. Go with the strength of those who already fought for those lands and gained them. Go with the strength of Sam Sharp. Go with the strength of Paul Bogle.
Yes.
Go with the strength of Queen Nanny, my sister.
Yes.
And stand up on the land.
Yes.
All right. Remember me telling you that. All right.
Thanks.
For the big A, he's back. Inside of a Sunday sunshine. My name is Kambuma Atkeru. Thanks so much to all those who participated. The fishermen from Fisherman's Beach in Ocho Rios, the small business owners from Fisherman's Beach in Ocho Rios, to Member of Parliament Shahina Robinson, Shani Robinson, to Mr. Desmond Malcolm, who called in later on in the program, to Dr. Babatunde of the Caribbean Public Health Agency in Trinidad, talking about chikungunya and other emerging viruses in the Caribbean. Thanks so much for listening to on the social media. For those of you who called in, thank you so much. We'll see you next week at the National Arena. Mutabaruka and myself and the outside broadcast team. We're broadcasting from 6 a.m. At the National Arena, covering the anniversary celebrations, the Nation of Islam and the Caribbean Community, 19th anniversary of a Million Man March at the National Arena. Sunday, October 19th. See you then.
Yeah, man, this is Clive, a.k.a. Chris Zogo, you know. One, you can give me a minute to make a talk to your listeners, them. Yeah, man, this, I talk to Mutalist from Jamaica, US, Britain, and the world, you know. Especially the one them with on YouTube and Butte-based and Roman channel. You know, for over 20 years, Muta, I highlight problem them and I get solution. But, you know, I feel black people, but Muta alone can't do it alone, you know. But all we do, as them listening, we do, we talk and we complain amongst ourselves. And pass blame and away to government, white man, rich man, and Jah and Jesus to solve them. Black people, if you know, say, and a responsibility that other people solve them problem, you know. And you know, say, the man we have been put by his neck, now take it off and let you lick it off and pump him in the face and stick in a thing short. Government has do good, you know. Because you see them a drive Pajero, and the regular artist, them alright, because them don't make it. And I see them a pop champagne, flat BMW, and I be a big mansion, but, you know, them not be no factory for employee. You know, the problem that I face working and poor class don't affect them. I can't believe how fool wanna be, you know, they wait for same people who cause the problem to fix it. We complain about foreigner buy up Jamaica, but instead, we buy up Jamaica, we buy up foreign goods. You don't know where the things say then get the money from. I see your money when you buy them goods then use back and come buy up Jamaica to use against you. They complain about Monsanto, but we shop at the supermarket all the time. And we don't even try to create our own supermarket that we sell our own organic food. So we leave it up to them to solve our problem with them create. Marcus Garvey say, if we can't do what other races do, you know, we don't deserve to die. And that is exactly what happened to me right now. If you can't own the wholesale like the Chinaman, you don't deserve to stay poor and jobless. If you can't own the multinational like the white man, you don't stay at the bottom of the political and economic system and big IMF. If you can't own the big farm like Monsanto, you don't deserve to die from cancer and death of famine. Muta give you no solution to your problem. But Muta, you alone don't have the money to solve a big problem, yeah. So if we put the money together, we can create the big man, big corporation, or big business that will represent our interests and agenda to work to solve our problem. I say, me don't say already, you know, if 1,000 a Muta listener put $1,000 US, that's $1 million US, 100 million Jamaica can set a foundation, start a business. We are going to invest in building and expanding black business like farm, supermarket, car creative, transportation, etc., which will provide wealth and jobs amongst our own by ourselves. Talking and complaining is good, you know, because they highlight the problem. But it's time to build business and structure to solve the problem that we complain about so much. Every race have them structures set up. That is why you can see Chinese come from China, set up shop, and start it out with all Chinese need. All a black man know to do is just be a buyer. You can't even blame the Chinese, you know, because you're not doing it for yourself anyways. My solution, I know the be all and all, but it's one thing that is in your power to do and can create a system that will outlast us all alive now, you know. Muta is the only man in Jamaica I feel that is trustworthy. That is why I'm willing to invest $1,000 US in him to set up a business to build our system. There must be at least, you know, 1,000 of him listeners who believe in real self-reliance. If not, I guess that Jamaican is doomed to only be beggars. $1,000, I don't know, you know, why? Because, you know, Jamaicans spend more than that on ganja, liquor, bleaching cream, clothes and car and big house, etc. In overconsumption. If you don't have 1,000, then you know what? Can't get 10 people to join you as one then. So we want all the serious Muta listeners them to email muta@irfm.net. Call up and tell them say, oh, you're ready to invest in him to build a phone system. So that me want to the people in Muta.
Blessed man, give thanks. That's so serious.